What's up? Ghost Fictions is here, and we're back again. This is the first part of a story where Izuku was betrayed and becomes a Jedi Knight. After being betrayed by his fiance, most of his friends and adoptive father and being sent to Tartarus and being freed by his real father, a young man sets off to bring peace, freedom, justice and security to not just Earth but the entire galaxy. But before we start, please consider subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. Don't forget to check the description for more informations and support the amazing author DEVDOG756 for writing this story. Now, let's get into part 1. Life so far hasn't been far to Izuku Yagi. Born quirkless and being neglected by his father, All Might, and being abused by his former friend as a child, to being betrayed by his fiance, who was a bitch-ass Might, forced to be married to, and being betrayed by those he called friends, as he was framed by the League of Villains, as he beaten to near death. Lost one for all as Ass Might gave it to Mirio Tagada and was sent to Tartarus, as there were those who believed in Izuku's innocence. If there was any silver lining to the whole situation, at least he wasn't engaged anymore. Of course Izuku preferred not being stuck in prison for it, but you take what you can get. But the thing about Izuku that no one but a few know is that Izuku isn't a Yagi, but rather the son of a Jedi, one of the most powerful Jedi in the galaxy. Meanwhile, outside of Tartarus, a ship landed close to the prison, but far enough away to not cause a commotion, as a blonde man with a scar wearing robes exited the ship along with a blue and white droid. The man is Anakin Skywalker, one of the most powerful Jedi in the galaxy, and Izuku's real father, and the droid is R2-D2. Anakin. So that's where they're keeping him. This reminds me when Ahsoka was framed for bombing the temple. R2 let out a series of beeps that signaled that he agreed with Anakin. Anakin. You got that right, R2. At least the council took their time with Ahsoka, instead of just throwing her in jail without a trail. Anakin walked towards Tartarus with R2 behind him as he put up his hood as they approached the gate. Guard. Let me see your identification. Anakin lifted his hand as the guard was in a trace. Anakin. You don't need my identification. Guard. I don't need your identification. Anakin. You'll open the gate and let us on our way. The guard did as Anakin commanded as the gate opened as the duo entered the prison entrance. Anakin. Where is the security room? The guard pointed to the security room's location as Anakin thanked the guard for his cooperation as R2 left for the security room as Anakin entered the prison. Inside the prison, Anakin felt the hatred and darkness coming from all the inmates with the Force, as he was grateful that none of them were Force sensitive as he located where Izuku was as he left towards his location, as Anakin passed a woman with dark blue hair and felt no evil within her, as he wondered why she was here, as he realized she most likely had to been framed like Izuku was. Meanwhile, R2 made it to the security room as the door was left open as R2 saw two guards as he knocked out one of them as the other guard saw R2 and was shocked. Guard. What the? A robot. R2 tasted the guard into unconsciousness as he accessed Tartarus' security system and saw Anakin in front of the dark-haired woman's cell as R2 turned off the alarm as Anakin freed the woman from her cell by using the Force to steal a guard's keys as she was confused as Anakin dragged her away from the area until they were clear. Anakin. Okay, we should be fine. You alright? Woman. I'm fine. Who are you? Anakin. I'm here on Jedi business. Woman. You're a Jedi, what are you doing here? Anakin. Someone dear to me has been wrongfully imprisoned here and I intend to free them. Woman. You're wasting your time. It's impossible to escape from Tartarus, even if you're a Jedi. There's a reason they send the worst villains here. Anakin. Jedi are more than just their lightsabers. I managed to get in here without a problem. The woman was surprised Anakin managed to just walk into Tartarus without issue, as she had a question for the Chosen One. Woman. Why did let me out anyway? Anakin. All the other inmates, I sensed great anger and rage, but I felt none from you, so I wondered when you are here in the first place. Woman. I used to be a hero working for the Hero Association, doing dirty jobs for them that other heroes wouldn't do. I had to murder heroes who were corrupt and villains who were too dangerous and targets who weren't much of a threat, and I hated all of it as I saw how the peace they maintained was hollow, while they hypocritically said their actions were for the best of society. And the worst part, kids want to become like me, and that's when I finally lost it and killed my boss, which got me here. Listening to her story made Anakin realize what happened to her is not so difficult from what happened to the Jedi. Peacekeepers turned into weapons for war, and now we're seen as criminals thanks to Palpatine, as Anakin felt sorry for her. Anakin. What's your name? Kaina Tsutsumi. Yours? Anakin. Anakin Skywalker. The two shook hands before making their way towards Izuku as Anakin explained who he was looking for as she was surprised. Kaina. That green-haired kid. I knew he shouldn't supposed to be here. Anakin. R2, hit the lights. The lights dimmed as the two walked down the hallway as they were faced with a large door, as Anakin opened it with the force as they entered the cell as Anakin saw his son tied up, beaten and bruised, and hanging in the air, as Kaina turned and puked over what they have done to a child, as Anakin freed Izuku as he fell from his chains, but Anakin caught him. Izuku? Who's there? Izuku's vision cleared up as he saw his father before him. Izuku? Dad. Anakin. Izuku. Izuku hugged his father for the first time in years as Kaina smiled at the sight. Izuku. Dad, how did you get in here? Never mind, stupid question. Anakin smiled as a group of guards entered the room as the trio looked at them. Guard 1. Well, look what we have here. Someone trying to save your pathetic ass. Anakin. What did you do to my son? Guard 2. We beat the shit out of him. Orders from All Might himself. He told us to do with the little bastard as we saw fit. Hell, we considered letting the women have their way with him. That little shit deserves it for trying to play hero. The guards were laughing at the pain they caused Izuku as Anakin's rage started to boil as he had enough. Anakin. You hurt my son. Anakin said with anger as he grabbed his lightsaber from his belt. Anakin. None of you are leaving alive. The guards lost their smirks as one tried to run out the door, but Anakin closed it with the force as he stared them down. Guard. You can't beat us. It's 10-1. Anakin. You underestimate my power. The rest of the guards were horrified that Anakin just killed the guard who tried to act tough without issue as Anakin turned to the rest of them. Anakin rushed the guards as he killed them all of. He cut off one's head, cut off the arms of 2, impaled 3 in the chest, pushed 2 into the wall with such strength they died on impact as the last guard stood before Anakin as the chosen one's stare was enough to make the guard cower in fear. Guard. Please, have mercy. Anakin. Did give my son mercy when you were beating him. Guard. No. Anakin. Then why should I give you mercy? Anakin stuck his hand out as the guards started being force-shocked. The guard's life started to end, slowly and painful as Anakin tightened his grip as Izuku grabbed Anakin's lightsaber and cut the guard's bottom half as he laid there, in the air, slowly choking to death. Finally the life left his eyes as Anakin dropped the guard as he, Izuku and Kaina left the cell and towards the entrance of the prison as Izuku told Anakin everything he's been thought over the past decade as Anakin was impressed that Izuku became decently powerful in the Force with only a bunch of holocrons and as they left Tartarus as R2-D2 made his way out of the security room as they all made their way to Anakin's ship. Kaina. Well, now what? Izuku. There's some things I need to finish here before I leave the planet. Anakin. How long will it take? Izuku. With you here, not too long. Anakin smiled as he grabbed and activated a commutation device as the voice of Izuku's mother Padme came through. Padme? You have me worried sick honey, are you okay? Anakin. I'm fine Padme. Padme? What about our son? Anakin. He's right here. Anakin gave the device to Izuku as he smiled hearing his mother's voice. Izuku. Hi mom. Padme. Izuku, my little baby boy. Izuku. Mom, I'm not a baby anymore. Padme. You'll always be to me. Izuku. Can't you baby Luke or Leia? Padme. I can't baby Leia since that's your father's job. Anakin. I do not baby Leia. Padme. Ani, you baby the hell out of Leia. Izuku. You do baby Leia dad. Anakin. We'll continue this when we get back. Anakin turned off the device as he turned to Izuku. Anakin. What's our first move? Izuku. There are 4 sensitive people at UA and luckily, they are the ones who believe Dan Inko and Izumi are some of them. Anakin. Then the first thing we should do is tell Inko and Izumi you're free and gather your things. After that, we'll gather the 4 sensitives and discuss what's next. Izuku nodded as he gave Anakin a picture of 2 girls who are very close to his heart. Anakin. Pretty girls. Who are they? Izuku. Momo Yaoi Rozu and Kyoka Jiro, 2 of the 4 sensitive people at UA. And my girlfriends. Anakin. Wait, I thought you said you were engaged. Izuku. I was but it was forced by ass might and I hated my fiance with a passion and I fell for Momo and Kyoka after sending time with them and we started dating in secret. Anakin. R2, I trust you can deliver the message to them. R2 let out a series of affirmative beeps as Anakin smiled at the ever-reliable astromech as Izuku gave the names of the people for R2, defined as he, Anakin, Kaina and R2, boarded Anakin's ship. Meanwhile across the galaxy, a powerful man encased in black armor was meditating as he stopped as he felt something in the force as he stood up. It is only a matter of time before you know the true power of the dark side and fall Skywalker. Anakin landed near the UA dorms as R2 jumped from the ship. Izuku. R2, remember don't let anyone other than the people I listed see you. R2 beeped in agreement as Anakin and Izuku lifted off again, as R2 rolled to the dorms, as R2 made it to the door and opened as he made his way through the dorms. Kinda. Are you sure he'll be alright alone? Anakin. Trust me, R2 knows how to take care of himself. He's tougher than he looks. The ship began lift-off as R2 was rolling towards the dorms. Despite being alone before, R2 always preferred having C-3PO at his side to talk to as he heard voices as he followed them as he entered a room, as he saw a group of people talking. Achako. I can't believe that Izuku's been in prison for a month. I never got to tell how I feel about him. Hiroshima. You like Midoribro? Achako. Yeah. Since I first met him. And if wasn't for his bitch of a fiance, I would have tried asking him out. Hyoka. Damn it, Momo was right. Then again, I wouldn't protest adding her into our relationship. Momo. I knew your Raka loved Zuzu, can't blame her in all honesty. And I would be lying if I haven't checked her out a time or two. Shoji. You guys hear that Najira-senpai got together with Tagada? Achako. Yeah. The thing is though, she doesn't seem to be happy. I think I saw bruises on her arm. Shoto. You think Tagada is abusing her? Achako. I think. I overheard him screaming at her, saying how Izuku was nothing more than a weak, two-faced villain who deserved his fate. I think he was pissed over how Izuku beat him and how close Izuku was with Najira-senpai. Momo grabbed a notebook as she wrote down Najira's name. Momo. That's another one on the list. Shoji. Yaoi Rozu, what's with the notebook? Momo. Sketches. Hiroshima. Now that you mention it, before our work study started, he told me that there was something off about Tagada and told me not to trust him. Guess this is why. Shoto. How could he know that? Hiroshima. Don't know. When I asked, all he said was that he could sense it and left it at that. And the weirdest part, I could sense it too. Koda. Also, isn't it weird that Tagada can somehow use Midori as quirk? Hiroshima. Yeah. That is weird. R2 saw that all the people present were the people Izuku told to find as he let out a bunch of beeps to let his presence known as they all got up in defensive stances as they saw R2 and were confused. Hyoka. What is that? Achako. It looks like some kind of robot. Hiroshima. Is it friendly? Momo. It let us know it was here so probably but can't be too sure. Shoto. What are you and why are you here? R2 let out an introductory beep which almost everyone couldn't understand what he was saying. Hiroshima. Do any of you guys know what a bunch of beeps means? Momo. He said he's called R2D2. Everyone was shocked that Momo was able to understand R2 as R2 told Momo something that made her lit up with hope. Momo. You know Izuku. Hyoka. Where is he? R2 beeped in response as Momo's eyes lit up with hope. Shoto. What did he say? Momo. He wants us to take us to Principal Nezu. Achako. Then let's get him there. Everyone ran for Nezu's office as Shoji picked up R2 and ran for Nezu's office. Momo. Principal Nezu. Nezu? Yes. Achako. We figured out how to help Izuku. Nezu. Well, what is it? Shoji put down R2 as R2 nudged Shoji in annoyance for picking him up as Nezu was surprised they had an astromech droid. Nezu. An astromech droid. Not something you see every day. What's your name? R2. Beep beep. Nezu. Pleasure to meet you R2D2. Shoto. Okay, how can he understand R2? Achako. You really need to ask. R2 backed up a bit as he played the message that Anakin recorded. Anakin. Principal Nezu, you may not know who I am, but you probably do if what my son said about you is true. I am Anakin Skywalker, Knight of the Fallen Jedi Order, General of the Rebellion, and the true father of Izuku, and rest assured, he is fine and free from prison by my side. Everyone was surprised Izuku was free as Anakin's message continued. Anakin. Believe me when I say I have no ill will towards you for what happened to my son, only towards those who betrayed him. Now I understand you all wish to see him, and for that you must follow R2. Meanwhile at Inko's home. Things have not been easy for Inko and Izumi. Not only has Izuku been wrongfully imprisoned by Asmite, which made Inko feel like she let down Anakin and Padme as she promised to keep Izuku safe, but Asmite also destroyed Inko and Izumi's credibility because they knew Izuku wasn't the traitor, and for that Inko's name was tarnished as Inko hated that she was being treated as the villain for believing the truth, as Inko decided to divorce Asmite and reveal the truth about One for All, since technically she has not left to lose. Izumi was really torn about as she had a massive crush on Izuku, which she couldn't act due to his engagement, and especially because her father forced her to give up on her love for Izuku, but that only made her love stronger. And ever since Izuku was imprisoned, she became depressed over it. The two opened the door and were surprised with who greeted them from the living room. Inko and Izumi. Izuku. The two green-haired girls hugged Izuku as he hugged back. Inko. Izuku, how did you get out of prison? Nezu hasn't finalized any proof yet. Anakin. I had a part to play in that. Anakin walked out of the shadows as Inko was surprised to see him. Inko. Anakin. Anakin. Inko. It's been a long time. Inko. Anakin, I'm sorry I couldn't help Izuku. Anakin. You have nothing to be sorry for, Inko. It's your husband who's at fault. Inko. Ex-husband. Izuku. Where is Tagada? Inko. Night Eye's agency. What are you going to do, Izuku? Izuku. Reclaim what is rightfully mine. Izumi. Another thing you should know, he's abusing Nijire-senpai. Izuku's eyes widen as Anakin, Inko and Izumi were worried. Inko. I hope he doesn't do anything reckless. Anakin. I doubt it. He is my son after all. Anakin gave Izuku a case as Izuku was confused as Izuku opened, revealing green and black Jedi robes. Izuku put on his robes as he grabbed his lightsaber and ran off towards Tagada's location, ready to kick ass and reclaim what belongs to him. Inko and Izumi were worried but were confident in Izuku's power as Anakin gave them a piece of paper, to their confusion. Inko. What's this? Anakin. Our rendezvous point, meet up with the rest there in half an hour. Izumi. What about you? Anakin. Izuku needs me to find someone first and he told me she's kind of crazy. Izumi signed as she had a good idea who Izuku wants Anakin to find. Izumi. That's an understatement. After 15 minutes, Izuku reached Night Eye's agency as he stared at the building with rage. He never liked Mirio from the beginning due to feeling something off about him as he entered the building as he donned his hood and only sensed two people there, Mirio and Nijire, as he made his way to where they were. Mirio. Nijire, you haven't eaten. Nijire. Sorry for not waiting to be roofied. Mirio. Oh, don't be like that, sexy. You're with me, like you always wanted. Nijire was having none of Mirio's shady flirting as she knew who she really wanted to be with. Nijire. I don't want to be with you. I want to be with Izuku. Mirio got pissed and punched Nijire in the face as she hit the ground as she held her face. Mirio. Why do you want to be with that weak villain, you dumb whore? I am the strongest hero in the world and you will be my bitch whether you like it or not. Izuku. Is that what you believe? Mirio turned around, pissed while Nijire was shocked, but somehow relieved as she saw Izuku was going to save her, yet she didn't know it was Izuku. Mirio. Who the hell are you? Izuku. None of your business. Stand aside before things get messy. Mirio. You have no idea who you're messing with. I am the strongest hero Lemillion. All Might chose me. Izuku. The power to phase through objects is insignificant next to the power of the Force. Mirio. I'll show you insignificant. Mirio went to attack with One for All at 50%, but suddenly stopped in midair as Izuku pushed him into the wall with such strength as Izuku walked over to Nijire as she was shaking. Izuku. Are you okay? Nijire. Yes. Look out. Mirio tried hitting Izuku again as Izuku tried stabbing him with his lightsaber which phased through Mirio's body due to his quirk as when the quirk deactivated, Izuku kicked him in the dick and knocked him into the ground for good as he turned back to Nijire. Nijire. Why? Why did you help me? Izuku. I couldn't leave you to suffer, senpai. Izuku took off his hood and smiled as Nijire was shocked but happy that Izuku was free and came to save her. Nijire. Is that really you, Izuku? Izuku. It is. Mirio. Yagi. How did you escape and why are you here? To steal Nijire from me again. Izuku. I never stole her from you in the first place. She only saw you as a friend and you couldn't accept that. You only saw her for her body, and don't get me wrong, she has an amazing body, but she's more than that. She's kind, sweet, compassionate, brave and heroic, but you refuse to see any of that is why Nijire was never yours. And now it's time for what I came for. Izuku took a piece of Mirio's hair and ate it as One for All left Mirio and returned to Izuku as he felt the power return to him. Honestly, it felt great to feel as the previous users were glad One for All was back with the true 9th user as Mirio tried to hit Izuku, but Izuku slashed his leg with his lightsaber. Izuku. Look at little ass Might Jr. Gonna cry. Mirio held his leg in pain as Izuku left with Nijire as she was relieved to be free from Mirio. Nijire. Izuku, I can't thank you enough for saving me. Izuku. Don't mention it. Nijire. Also, did you mean what you said about me? Body and all. Izuku. Every word. You're one of the greatest girls I have ever met and when I heard what he did you, I knew I couldn't let that continue. You deserve way better than him. Nijire blushed as Izuku led to her to where he was to meet with the others. A while later, Izuku arrived at the meeting place as Momo and Kyoka ran towards Izuku and hugged and kissed him. Everyone other than Anakin and Kaina was shocked, especially Ichako, Izumi and Nijire. Momo. We missed you so much, Zuzu. Izuku. I missed you and Kyoka too, Momo. Inko. Izuku, why did they kiss you? Kyoka. Because we're dating him. Hiroshima. But he was engaged to that hoe. 32. Izuku. And I hated the bitch. So when Momo and Kyoka confessed to me, I was more than happy to date them in secret. Momo. And we made him more happy than that spoiled bitch ever did. Kyoka. And we robbed her of the opportunity of taking his first time. Izuku. That's really not something you should say in front of my dad, Kyoka. Anakin. I better not be a grandfather anytime soon, Izuku. Izuku. About that, dad. Suddenly Anakin saw a little girl with white hair and red eyes ran towards Izuku as he kneeled and hugged her. Izuku. Eri. Eri. Papa, you're free. Me, Mommy Momo and Mommy Kyoka missed you. Anakin's jaw dropped as Eri saw Anakin and was scared of him. Eri. Who's that, Papa? Izuku. Eri, that's your grandpa Anakin Skywalker. Eri's eyes lit up as she ran to Anakin, who was taken aback by her sudden change in behavior. Eri. Grandpa. Up. Anakin smiled as he lifted his granddaughter with the force and flew her around a bit as Eri was having fun as Anakin lowered her into his arms. Anakin. What do you know, me and Padme are grandparents. Why do I have the feeling Luke's going to die a virgin? Ichako. Izuku's dating both of them. Maybe I can join if they're fine with it. Izumi. Maybe Momo and Jiro will let me join. Shoto. So why are we all here? Anakin then explained to them all that they are force sensitive as Izuku demonstrated the force as he lifted a massive boulder with no issue as they were impressed with his display. Hiroshima. You're saying we can do that? Anakin. With the proper training you can do that and more. Kyoka. Are you saying you'll train us to become Jedi? Anakin. Yes. Izuku. Dad, did you find her? Anakin. I did. And you were right, she is crazy. Izuku. I told you so. Anakin. You sound like Obi-Wan right now. Everyone got into defensive stances as they saw Toga walk from the shadows. Himiko. Hello. Momo. You. What are you doing here? Momo created a sword as Izuku stepped in front of her. Izuku. Momo, don't. I asked my dad to bring her here. Shoto. What? Why? Izuku. For answers. Now Toga, tell us everything about the League's plan to frame me. Himiko. Okay. Tamura came up with a plan to frame you because he hated that you kept stopping him and because he wanted to prove how dumb and gullible society is and he wanted me to take your blood and steal from you, but I said no. Ichako. Why? Himiko. Because I didn't want to do and because All for One ordered him to abandon that plan for some reason. And Tamura wasn't happy with that, so he went behind All for One's back to follow through with his plan and demanded me to do it and I said no again and he was really pissed and then. To their surprise, Toga started to cry which shocked them as Ichako gave Toga a handkerchief to blow her nose. Momo. And then what? Himiko. He punched me and said that I would do it or suffer for defiance and I again said no, so he tied me down and started to strip me as twice and Dobby striped down too and they. Everyone was shocked and disgusted at what they did to her as Toga fell to her knees as Ichako hugged her. Kyoka. Oh my god. Momo. Those bastards. Shoto. Dobby is just like my father. Inko. Tenko, what has become of you? Himiko. He told me it would stop when I agreed to go through with his plan, but I never did so they kept getting more and more violent with me. Gagging me, whipping me and locking me in a secret room. One day, All for One found and he let me go. Izuku. All for One. Let you go. Just like that. Himiko. Just when I felt I belonged somewhere, they turned on me, just like before. Momo. Before. Himiko then told them all about her life and how after she discovered her quirk, everyone turned their backs on her, calling her a freak and her parents yelling at for not being normal as everyone was shocked that she wasn't born like this and was made into this because of prejudice against villain quirks. Momo. We were wrong. We just thought she was born crazy, I feel horrible. Himiko. I don't belong anywhere, I'm just better off dead. Ichako. That's not true. Izuku. She's right, everyone has the right to live. We all originally just thought you were always like this and that was it, but now after hearing your life, we realized that you were made into this due to no fault of your own and I am sorry for that. We all are. Anakin. All the kid needed was proper love and guidance and she was refused any of that because of something she couldn't control. Himiko. I'm sorry for all the trouble I caused you all. Is there any way I can rectify my actions? Izuku. There is. Join us and we can help you. People deserve a second chance. Izuku gave Himiko as she thought about her choice and decided this was better than returning to the League as she took Izuku's hand. Himiko. Thank you Izuku. I won't make you regret this. Izuku. You won't. I know it. Anakin. If you weren't the one who framed Izuku, who was? Himiko. We have a mole in UA. They've been on all for one's peril for years and have been spying since the beginning of the school year. Ichako. Who is it? It's Bakugo, isn't it? Himiko. Nope, you'll be surprised. Ijiro. Who is it? Himiko. He's been blinding you this whole time with his sparkles. Their eyes widen as they knew who that referred to. Izuku. I can't believe it. That damn Frenchman. Izumi. I should have known there was something up with him. Ijiro. Damn it. Momo. There was always something off about him, I can't believe I did see it earlier. Shoto. So many brushes with death, all because of him. Damn him. Hyoka. So what's first? Anakin. I have a plan. They saw a blue and red truck pull up, much to everyone's confusion. Momo. That's a truck. No disrespect, Master Skywalker, but how will that help? Anakin. Trust me, there is more than meets the eye. Suddenly the truck started transform into a massive robot as everyone was shocked except for Anakin. Anakin. Everyone, meet Optimus Prime. Meanwhile on a faraway planet. The imposing man encased in armor was raiding a rebel base as he was killing any who got in his way as he was standing down a group of soldiers. Rebel. Everyone, open fire at Starkiller. All the rebel soldiers fired at Starkiller, who deflected all their shots with his lightsaber with no issue as the rebels ran into a ship in an attempt to escape Starkiller. Starkiller. Pathetic. Starkiller was about to pursue the ship when it was shot down by another individual as Starkiller turned to see a massive robotic warrior who he was familiar with. Starkiller. Megatron. Megatron. Hard at work hunting down those rebels, are you, Starkiller? Starkiller. Why are you here anyway? Megatron. I wish to take up the Emperor's offer of an alliance between the Empire and the Decepticons. Starkiller. Very well. I'll contact Emperor Sidious. He'll be very pleased with your decision, Megatron. Megatron. As will I. Izuku. So, where are you from? Optimus. I am from the planet Cybertron. Eerie. How can you turn into a truck, Mr. Prime? Optimus. Please, just call me Optimus. As for your question, I process a T-cog, which is what humans would call an organ, which allows my body to adapt to whatever I scan and allows me to shape-shift my body safety into my vehicle form. Eerie. That sounds cool. Momo. And can every member of your kind can transform into vehicles? Optimus. Indeed, all Cybertronians have T-cogs, and we can transform into anything: planes, tanks, trucks, cars, trains. Even objects or weapons. Eerie. How do you know my grandpa? Anakin. I met Optimus during the Clone Wars. He, along with his men, were a vital part in winning multiple battles, along with increasing our knowledge of technology. Optimus. Anakin is one of the greatest warriors and one of the greatest men I ever had the pleasure of knowing. Shoto. Question, what's our plan? Anakin. Glad you ask. Over the week, Anakin has trained the group the basics in both the Force and lightsaber combat, 12 hours for each, for the whole week. Granted, Izumi and Inko had an advantage in learning the Force due to their telekinesis, but the advantage was just a slight one. Meanwhile with Izuku, Anakin had him follow the same training regime, 12 hours for both lightsabers and the Force, except that Anakin continued to further Izuku's skills, as the two would train together, which Izuku found better than learning from the holocrons Anakin left for him, filled with basic training for Izuku and learning on his own. Throughout the training, Anakin was impressed with the growth everyone was showing, especially Izuku's, as he had become decently powerful despite being on his own, and to their surprise, Eerie is Force sensitive too, as she managed to lift R2 off the ground without meaning to. While the training was taking place, Anakin, Kaina, R2 and Optimus scoped out the League of Villains hideout as Himiko told them where it was as they watched the base. Waiting for Shigaraki to slip and confirm his plan, which ultimately happened as R2 recorded Shigaraki confessing to framing Izuku along with Dabi and twice forcing themselves on Himiko as Optimus took off to UA to hand Nezu Shigaraki's confession as he summoned all who betrayed Izuku into the auditorium as they listened to Shigaraki's confession. Those at UA who betrayed Izuku was completely shocked that Izuku wasn't the traitor. The one feeling really bad was Izuku's ex-fiance. Melremerk. Multi. I can't believe it. Izuku was innocent. I can't believe I betrayed my husband. Mina. It's okay, Multi, he'll understand you made a mistake. Multi for the first time in her life actually felt genuine regret, bullshit, as Midnight starting going off on them for their idiotic decision. Midnight. I tired to tell you he was innocent, but you morons didn't listen. And Izawa, what were you thinking? Izawa. Namuri, I made a mistake. Midnight. Right. Because beating an innocent person to near death and throwing him in prison without a trail is just a mistake. Get fucking real. And Yagi, you abused a child that wasn't even yours. All Might. I thought he was the traitor. Vlad. And you didn't bother to see if the footage was fake. Or even use your detective friend who's a walking lie detector. Midnight. And that doesn't excuse that you knew Izuku wasn't your son in the first place and abused and neglected him anyway. And you don't seem to know you abused the child of the chosen one. Bakugo. What the fuck makes him that? Anakin. What makes you a hero? Everyone turned to look as they saw Anakin with Izuku and those who believed in him. Malty. Izuku. You returned for me. Malty ran to Izuku, but Momo pushed Malty away using the force as she collided with the wall, as there was a decent dent in the wall, as Anakin was impressed. Momo. Don't. You. Dare. Touch. Our. Izuku. Malty. What are you talking about? He's mine. Izuku. Might as well reveal it. I have been cheating on you with Momo and Kyoka for the past 2 years. Malty. No. That's a lie. That's impossible. Anakin. Search your feelings, you know it to be true. All Might. Izuku, how dare you cheat on your fiance's son? Izuku. Easy, I never loved her and she only agreed to it due to getting more power. And don't call me son, I was not and never will be your son. Malty. That's not true. I love you baby, it just took me a while to see it. R2. Beep beep beep. Translation. Quit capping bitch. Anakin. Well said R2. Izawa. Then why didn't you try to call it off? Izuku. The only reason I couldn't call off the marriage was because that clown would turn the whole thing into a massively unnecessary shitshow. All Might. How dare you speak to me like that you quirkless brat. I raised you better than that. All Might then realized what he said as Izuku looked at him with malice as Anakin started laughing. All Might. Izuku, I'm. Izuku. I hate you. Anakin. Every word you just said was wrong. You never raised my son, you only abused and neglected him because he didn't fit into your planet's definition of normal. And my wife and I specifically asked Inko to raise him. Not a weak waste of a man. All Might. Watch how you speak to a king. Anakin. What is a king to a god? All Might. What is a god? To a non-believer. The symbol of stupidity tried to punch Anakin, but Anakin punched his arm with his robotic hand, making Ass Might stumble in pain as Anakin grabbed him and threw him through the wall with the force. Also, I believe Anakin can easily beat All Might, change my mind. Anakin. Do you believe now? All Might. Bakugo. All Might. You bastard, I'll kill you. Anakin looked at Bakugo as he couldn't help but be reminded of Darth Vader in a way. Something about that petty, explosive Pomeranian reminded him of the man who is the dark side's answer to him. Anakin. Sorry, you say something. Bakugo was pissed that Anakin didn't acknowledge his power as he rushed to attack Anakin, but Anakin moved out of the way as Bakugo went to launch an explosion, but stopped as Anakin ignited his lightsaber and pointed at him. Anakin. All bark and no bite. Bakugo. Your space magic is nothing compared to me and my explosions. Anakin launched a round of force lightning upon Bakugo using his organic hand which sent the Pomeranian flying into the wall. Anakin. Someone with your behavior, I felt sorry for your parents. Inko. Oh, trust me, they're already disappointed in him. Mineta. This isn't fair. Why does that villain get all the bitches while I get nothing? Those bitches should be slaves to my massive cock. Izuku turned to face Mineta as he had a sadistic smile on his face as he ignited his lightsaber. Izuku. Would you care to repeat that, you son of a bitch? Izuku started walking to Mineta as the Grapist was pissing and shitting himself in terror as Izuku pantsed him with the force, revealing Mineta had a micro-penis before slamming him into the walls and floor repeatedly. Suddenly All Might tried to attack Anakin while his back was turned, but Vlad King managed to stop the attack. All Might. Let me go Vlad King. Vlad King. Yagi, enough. Mineta has gotten off scot-free with all the harassment he's done to all the female students. He deserves this as karma. All Might. No he doesn't. He's just misguided. Vlad King. Misguided you call behavior bordering on sexual harassment and sexual assault misguided. Mineta should have been the one imprisoned, not Izuku. All Might. Well, Izuku had proof of wrongdoing. Vlad King. Compared to all the complaints the female students about Mineta or hell, all of the problems with Bakugo. All Might headbutted Vlad King as he tried to attack Anakin, but Anakin dashed towards All Might as he tried to stop Anakin with his quirk, but Anakin used the force to throw him through the wall, into the hallway, as Anakin started punching All Might with his cybernetic hand, as he was showing no mercy. Izawa then tried capture Anakin with his scarf, but Anakin saw it coming and grabbed it with his organic hand, and forced pushed the hobo zombie out the window, as Anakin stopped and cleaned his hand. Anakin. No challenge at all. But like an idiot, Ass Mike got up and tried to attack Anakin, but Anakin just backhanded him with his cybernetic hand, sending the blood hero onto the floor with a swole cheek. All Might. You villain. Oh, I don't think so. Ass Might looked to where he heard the voice and was pissed as Anakin knew who it was. Obi-Wan. Hello there. Izuku. Uncle Obi-Wan. Anakin used the distraction to bitch slap Ass Might with his cybernetic hand as Obi-Wan force pushed him into the ground as he helped Anakin up. Obi-Wan. Well, you've certainly been busy, Anakin. Anakin. Sorry, Obi-Wan, got sidetracked by people who needed to be put in the sand. Obi-Wan. Seems like you did more than just that. Anakin. Why are you here anyway? You don't trust me on my own? Obi-Wan. Well, considering the fact you're one of the few who can defeat Vader, your survival is a top priority. Anakin. Hey, I can handle myself. Obi-Wan. Which normally leads to trouble. Anakin rolled his eyes as Obi-Wan looked at Izumi as she looked eerily familiar to him for some reason. Obi-Wan. Odd, she looks familiar, but how? Wait a second, I can see it now. That look in her eyes, they're just like Nana and… Obi-Wan stopped as he sensed Izumi's thoughts about Izuku, and, let's just say that Obi-Wan won't be getting any sleep anytime soon. Anakin. You okay, Obi-Wan? Obi-Wan. I'm fine. I just need some bleach for my brain. Anakin shot Obi-Wan a look of confusion as Obi-Wan kneeled to Izuku and ruffled his hair. Obi-Wan. You've gotten taller since I last saw you, Izuku. Izuku. You've just gotten shorter, Uncle Obi. Obi-Wan. You definitely got Anakin's snark. Momo and Kyoka walked over to Obi-Wan to introduce themselves. Obi-Wan. You must be the girls who captured my nephew's heart. Momo. We are. Obi-Wan. Well, Padme will be certainly surprised. Anakin chuckled as Momo and Kyoka took turns kissing Izuku on the lips. Malty's heart broke as she saw Momo and Kyoka kiss Izuku and saw that Izuku loved and enjoyed it far more compared when he had to kiss her as Mina was pissed, believing Izuku and Malty were meant to be together for some stupid reason. Mina. You bitches ruined my perfect ship. Ichako. Perfect. He fucking hated the bitch. How's that a perfect ship? Shoto. She probably thinks Joker and Harley Quinn is a good relationship. Kyoka. Me and Momo are far more perfect for Izuku than melodramatic over there. Mina. Bitch, you're semi-perfect at best. Momo. Semi-perfect. How can you be semi-perfect? You're either perfect or you're not, me and Kyoka. There's no gray area. Mina went to attack Momo and Kyoka with her quirk, but she was stopped mid-air as Anakin started force-shocking her. Anakin. If you value your life, don't you dare harm my future daughters-in-law. Anakin tightened his grip with the force as Iida tried to attack Anakin like an idiot, but was met with Anakin's hand to his face. Anakin. You're supposed to be the one of the strongest here. Give me a break. Mina. H harder, daddy. Anakin. What? Obi-Wan. Oh great, now I need a cold shower after this. Obi-Wan. Let her go, Anakin. They all got the message. Anakin let Mina go as she fell to the floor, gasping for air as she looked at Anakin and was completely afraid of him. Mina. You're a monster. Anakin. Looked in the mirror. Toru. Jedi aren't supposed to harm people. It's against the use of the light side of the Force. Obi-Wan. And isn't beating an innocent person and sending them to prison without getting their side against being a hero. Toru. That was different. Obi-Wan. Oh, I hardly think so. Also, where's that voice coming from? Obi-Wan's quip made Anakin and Izuku's true friends laugh as Toru had steam coming from her face. Not that anyone could see it anyway. Anakin. Light side this, dark side that, it's all everyone says. That's what's different about me from the Jedi of old. I don't follow the light or dark sides of the Force, I follow the Force. That's what limits the Jedi and Sith for years. There is no good or evil side of the Force, it's how the Force is used that is good or evil. Izuku. And we're leaving the planet for good. Izawa. Problem child, Izuku. Don't bother. I looked up to you, all of you, and you turned on me except for Ms. Midnight. From this day on, I am done hiding who I truly am. I am Izuku Skywalker, the son of the Chosen One, and I am a Jedi, like my father before me. Midnight. Skywalker, if it's fine with you, may I join you? Anakin. Just call me Anakin. And yes, you can. Izuku told me you have quite the unique ability. Izawa. Namuri, you can't. Midnight. Can it, Izawa? I've seen what modern heroes are now, a bunch of greedy, selfish, heartless villains pretending to be heroes. Everyone calling me a salt or a whore, I could handle, but what really broke me is how you betrayed Izuku's trust, and you now have the nerve to beg for his forgiveness. Iida. You can't leave. You all have responsibilities as heroes and need to uphold them. Midnight. You won't know responsibilities if it blinded you. You're supposed to bring order to the class, and from what I've seen, you are incapable of doing that. Iida clenched his fist as he hated Midnight talk down to him because Iida believed Midnight was no fit to be a hero due to her costume, despite her being a kind person despite all that. Meanwhile, Malty still refused to believe Izuku was in love with Momo and Kyoka as she tried to get Eri to come to her. Malty. Eri, come to mommy. Eri. You're not my mommy. You were never my mommy. Grabs Momo and Kyoka, they are my mommies. Malty was getting fed up with Eri as she tried to take Eri from Momo and Kyoka. Malty. I am your mother, not those whores. Now listen to me, you cursed brat. Malty then punched Eri as hard as she could before realizing what she said and done as Eri started crying as Momo and Kyoka were pissed beyond comprehension as they both force pushed Malty into the wall, breaking upon impact before slamming her against the floor and ceiling multiple times. Kyoka then threw Malty to Momo as Momo held her in front of her as she held Anakin's lightsaber in front of Malty as Momo thrusted Anakin's lightsaber into her shoulder as she yelled in pain before Momo took out the lightsaber as Malty held her shoulder in pain. Momo. Call my baby girl cursed and a brat again, I won't be as merciful next time. The group then left UA. Over the next day, everyone prepared to leave as Izuku's friends explained to their families that they were leaving Earth. While their families were reluctant at first, they all came around and allowed their children to leave with Anakin, as Anakin swore that he would keep them safe, no matter the cost. Nezu meanwhile released Shigaraki's confession, clearing Izuku's name, along with clearing Kaina's name as well, and he also released the footage of the fiasco at UA, leading to the public losing fate and straight up hate All Might and Izawa, losing their spots in the hero ranking. The group was prepared to leave, but the traitors, against Nezu's orders, tried to force them to stay and get Izuku's forgiveness, while Izawa was still being a dumbass for saying Izuku should be put to death as Anakin held back the urge to kill him. But before the traitors threatened the group any further, he started choking as ominous breathing was heard as Anakin's eyes widened. Anakin? No. Not now. Everyone turned to see where the breathing was coming from as Anakin and Obi-Wan knew full well who it belonged to. Darth Vader. Anakin and Obi-Wan glared at Vader as everyone else looked at Vader and were completely petrified with fear as nothing except Vader's breathing and Vlad King being chocked was heard. Vlad King. Chocking. Vader. I would advise not to choke on your aspersions, hero. All Might. You villain. Let Vlad King go now. Vader. If you insist. Before Vader could kill Vlad King, Anakin used force push to push Vader back, making him release his grip on Vlad King as he caught his breath and moved out of the way of the two Jedi. Obi-Wan. We'll take him together. Anakin. You read my mind. Anakin. I should have known you would have tried to follow me, Vader. Anakin and Obi-Wan grabbed their lightsabers as they got into battle stances. Anakin. Bring it. Obi-Wan. Your move. Anakin and Obi-Wan rushed Vader as their sabers clashed as Izuku and the others ran for the ship while the traitors just stayed and watched Anakin and Obi-Wan fight Vader. The blue blades of the two Jedi clashed with the red blade of Vader as Anakin kept overpowering Vader's strikes with his mastery over Form V and his power and the Force, while Obi-Wan kept Vader on his toes with his combined usage and mastery of Forms 3 and IV. Obi-Wan jumped over Vader as Vader got him with a force push, sending him off balance as Anakin managed to break through Vader's defense as he punched the Dark Lord with his cybernetic hand. Vader. You've gotten stronger since our last battle. Anakin. You just gotten slower. Obi-Wan got back into the fight as he and Anakin started pushing Vader back as they used a combined force push to send Vader flying as they saw Bakugo flying towards them at top speed as he landing in a position where he stood between them and Vader. Obi-Wan. Do you have a death wish? Get out of here. Bakugo. Shut the fuck up, you ginger fuck. I'll kill him. Obi-Wan. You fool. He will kill you without hesitation. Bakugo was having none of Obi-Wan's warning as he blasted Obi-Wan away as Anakin ran to check on him as Bakugo started down Vader, who was unimpressed with the blonde Pomeranian. Vader. You would be wise to surrender. Bakugo. I'm not afraid of you, you metallic bastard. Vader. Then you will die braver than most. Bakugo launched a massive explosion at Vader, but Vader stopped it with the Force as he pushed it back towards Bakugo, but Bakugo managed to dodge as he rushed towards Vader with his explosions. Bakugo. Hoister impact. Bakugo landed, thinking he killed Vader, but Vader's breathing signaled that he was still alive as the smoke cleared as Bakugo saw Vader was completely unscathed from his attack. Bakugo. That was my strongest attack. Vader walked towards Bakugo as Bakugo backed up and tripped as he crawled away from Vader. Bakugo. What are you? Vader. Beyond your comprehension, child. Vader pulled Bakugo towards him with the force as he held Bakugo in place in front of him as Bakugo tried to use his explosions on Vader but couldn't do a thing due to being paralyzed with fear. Vader. You're nothing. You're just a child who believes he's a god despite being around people who are far stronger than you ever were. As you are now. Vader started force-shocking Bakugo as he struggled to escape Vader's grasp as Anakin and Obi-Wan ran towards Vader to continue fighting, but Aoyama managed to get in a lucky shot, sending Vader flying into a tree. Mineta threw a ball at Vader's hand, trapping as Mineta started celebrating, thinking he beat Vader, but Vader grabbed the ball with his free hand and crushed it, getting a purple substance over his suit as Mineta started throwing his balls willy-nilly as Vader blocked all of them before throwing them all back at Mineta with the force. Vader then force-pulled Mineta to him as he held the great boy in his hand as Vader accidentally sensed all of Mineta's thoughts and dropped him out of disgust. Vader is a Sith Lord, but at least there are points where even he must draw the line as he started crushing Mineta with the force in an attempt to rid the galaxy of one more piece of filth. Mineta. You can't do this to me. I'm a hero. Vader. You're a child. Vader then cut off Mineta's head with a single strike with his lightsaber as the remaining One members were shocked by Vader's brutality. Vader. I am well accustomed to killing children. Anakin and Obi-Wan rushed Vader as Vader clashed with Obi-Wan as Anakin pushed him into a tree before firing Force Lightning at the Dark Lord, which threw his suit out of whack, which led to Vader pushing them away as the remaining One members all decided to attack Vader to avenge Mineta as Anakin and Obi-Wan took it as an opportunity to catch their breath. Izawa. It's over. You're surrounded. Vader. All I am surrounded by is fear. And dead men. Aoyama kept blasting lasers at Vader, who kept deflecting them with his lightsaber as Sato and Ejiro tried to attack Vader, but Vader caught Sato's punch and slammed him into the ground, along with cutting off Ejiro's tail with his lightsaber as Vader saw Kaminari about to use his quirk with Vader blocked with his saber and deflected it towards Tokoyami, who sent Dark Shadow Vader, but the light from Kaminari's electricity rendered Dark Shadow down before Vader knocked the bird boy out with one punch. Vader then saw Multi launch Fire Blast at him, which Vader dodged as Multi made a fire blade as she clashed with Vader as she was giving it all she had as Vader sensed potential in her. Vader. Yes. Use your hatred. Only that will give you the power to destroy me. Multi froze at Vader's statement as she wondered what Vader meant before she focused a massive fire blast on Vader, which sent him back a bit before Vader deflected it with the force before he noticed he wasn't holding his lightsaber. He saw it floating, which confused him before realizing it was Toru who threw his lightsaber away as Kaminari used Vader's confusion to his advantage and blasted him with electricity as Iida kicked him in his robotic arm, which hurt Iida more than Vader as Aizawa captured Vader with his scarf as they gathered around Vader, thinking they won as Aizawa used his quirk on Vader. Thinking the force as a telekinesis quirk. Toru. Not so tough without your fancy laser sword and quirk, are you? Aizawa. Ashido, use your quirk to melt his mask so we can see who he is before we kill him. Mina threw some of her acid at Vader, which stopped in midair as they realized Vader still can use the force, which they still thought was a quirk, as Vader directed the acid towards Aizawa's face, more specifically his eyes, which hit. Burning Aizawa's eyes as Vader broke free from Aizawa's scarf as Mina tries to throw acid at Vader again, but Vader grabbed her and Toru with the force and throwing them into trees as Kaminari used 2.1 million volts of his electricity on Vader, but Vader used the force to deflect the electricity back to Kaminari. Taking him out of the picture as All Might tried attacking him, but Vader caught his attack and stabbed his injury with his lightsaber as Vader tossed him aside as he saw Multi was the last one standing. Multi. You'll pay for that. Vader. Why care for those weaklings when you have the potential to become stronger than you ever could dream of? Multi stopped and thought about what Vader was saying. He was right, she hates her class and wants nothing more to become stronger, but she knows Vader's evil and she wants to be a hero. Or does she? Vader. Join me, Melrimerk, and you can achieve power behind your planet's comprehension. Before Multi could answer Vader, Obi-Wan pulled a fast one on Vader by slamming him with a log with the force as Anakin pushed Vader into a rock before slashing Vader's control panel and slammed him into the ground. Anakin. Obi-Wan, still have that vial of sand? Obi-Wan. Yes, why? Anakin. Give it to me. Obi-Wan. What? Anakin, you hate. Anakin. I know, just give me the damn thing. Obi-Wan handed Anakin the sand vial as Anakin opened it as Vader got back up. Anakin. I can't believe I'm resorting to this. Anakin threw the sand directly into Vader's mask, irritating the Sith Lord. Vader. Really, you out of everyone should know how coarse, rough and irritating sand is. Anakin rushed Vader as Vader blocked Anakin's strikes, but the sand in his helmet made it hard for him to focus as Anakin kicked Vader and hit his leg with his lightsaber. Suddenly before making his next move, Vader was met with a well-timed attack from Izuku, which sent Vader flying. Anakin was shocked at what Izuku did as Vader got back up and was impressed with Izuku. Vader. Impressive. Who are you, child? Izuku. I am Izuku Skywalker. Vader. Skywalker. Looks at Anakin. So you have another son. Izuku. I'm not afraid of you. Vader. You will be. Vader grabbed his lightsaber with the force as Izuku ignited his lightsaber and clashed with Vader as he force-pushed Vader away before grabbing him with Black Whip, shocking Anakin, Obi-Wan and Vader as Izuku slammed Vader into the ground before landing a Delaware smash, sending Vader back as he wondered how Izuku could do that. Anakin. I got a bad feeling about this. Obi-Wan. Anakin, have some faith in your son. Anakin. I do. It's just Izuku being able to beat Vader in a fight on his own after being self-taught for over the past decade and only having proper training for a week is completely ridiculous and stupid. Obi-Wan. Fair point. Besides, this battle will turn in our favor. Winks at Anakin. Anakin got the message as Anakin and Obi-Wan joined Izuku and continued fighting Vader as the trio started overpowering Vader as Izuku used smokescreen to blind Vader as Vader looked around for them as he heard a lightsaber activate but was hit in the back with force lightning before pushed into a grab, then slammed into the ground as Vader used the force to get rid of the smoke as they kept dueling. Suddenly, it seemed Vader was losing the will to continue fighting as he was starting to falter in his attacks as Izuku felt a boost in power in himself, Anakin and Obi-Wan, which Izuku was confused about but focused on fighting Vader. Vader was pushed into a corner as Izuku and Anakin dropped a bunch of boulders on Vader as Vader started lifting the boulders off him as Obi-Wan tired to kept Vader still place, but Izuku saw a familiar purple mist as he jumped to high ground and grabbed Anakin and Obi-Wan with Black Whip as Vader was about to throw the boulders at them but inhaled the mist as he started to fall unconscious which he tried to fight but to no avail as he fell unconscious. Anakin and Obi-Wan turned to see that the mist came from midnight, leaving Obi-Wan surprised. Obi-Wan. Well, that's a nifty trick. Anakin grabbed Vader with the force and charged a massive force push and sent Vader flying far away as they made their way back to the ship. They got to the ship as Momo and Kyoka ran over and hugged Izuku. Momo. You're okay, Zuzu. Kyoka. We were worried about you, Green Bean. Izuku. It's going to take more than one Sith Lord to get rid of me. Anakin. I wouldn't remain that confident for long. Vader is no ordinary Sith. There's a reason he's the Emperor's enforcer. The only reason you survived against Vader was he was already worn down and was holding back, and at your current level, you wouldn't be able to beat him at his full power. Izuku. Then it's a good thing we're going to be trained under some of the greatest Jedi ever. Anakin smiled at his son as Izuku remembered to ask about Vader's sudden lose in morale. Izuku. Hey Dad, when we were fighting Vader, I sensed he was suddenly lost the will to fight while we got stronger. What was with that? Anakin. I'm glad you asked. The girl wearing Jedi robes who was around Izuku's age walked out from the ship as Izuku, Momo and Kyoka were all taken aback by her beauty. She was very beautiful, not Momo or Kyoka levels of beautiful but beautiful nonetheless. Anakin. Izuku, this is Bastila Shan. Bastila, this is Izuku, my youngest child. Bastila. Pleasure to meet you, Izuku. Izuku. You too. So what happened to Vader? That was you. Bastila. That was my battle mediation. It allows me to increase my allies' proficiency in battle while reducing the proficiency of my enemies. Izuku. Wow. That's a nifty ability. Something about Bastila made her wise and had years of experience, something that confused Izuku since she's around his age. Izuku. Dad, she's around my age, and yet she's as wise and experienced as a Jedi Master, what's with that? Anakin. Bastila lived thousands of years ago in a past life. Izuku. So, you mean reincarnation is a thing? Anakin. Yes. She was a Jedi Knight of the Old Republic who fell in love with a fellow Jedi who used to be a Sith Lord who, after being betrayed by his apprentice, had his memories wiped to rejoin the Republic. Izuku. That's an interesting start to a romance. Anakin. It's a very long story, one you should ask her to tell. Now let's go before either Vader wakes up, Starkiller shows up or God forbid Palpatine shows up. They all turned to board the ship, but they were stopped by voices none of them wanted to hear. Bakugo. Oh nerd. Izuku. Oh great. Bastila. Friends of yours. Izuku. Once. Izumi. They're the ones who betrayed him. And the blonde dog bullied Izuku for years due to being quirkless. Bastila. I assume that's not good on this planet. Inko. Depends on the area. Anakin. I told you all to stay away. Monoma. You villains will never get away from justice. Lad King. Monoma, let it go. They aren't villains, if anything the rest of you are. Monoma. But sir. Lad King. That's final Monoma. I could get past your one-sided hatred towards Class A, but this is just completely ridiculous. Monoma. But they are villains. Hell, that man in the black robes might be as worse as the man in the armor. Everyone lost brain cells at Monoma's stupidity as he thought Lad King turned his back on him as Anakin pulled Monoma into his hand as he started shocking him. Anakin. Never, and I mean never, compare me with Vader ever, he and I are nothing alike. Monoma saw the anger in Anakin's eyes as Anakin threw him to the ground as everyone stood over him. Izumi. All bark and no bite as usual. You can't stand a chance unless you have someone to leech off of their quirk. Astila. I feel sorry for any woman who's had the displeasure of coming into contact with you. Ioka. Especially in regards to the downstairs department. Monoma's ego had enough of this as he copied Izumi's quirk and stole Izuku's lightsaber and tried to kill Bastila, but Anakin stepped in and engaged in a very brief clash with Monoma, which Anakin gave him no chance to breath as Monoma jumped over Anakin onto higher ground. Monoma. It's over, Jedi. I have the high ground. Anakin. You underestimate my power. Monoma. Don't try it. Anakin jumped over Monoma as the blonde little shit tried to strike Anakin while in midair, but missed like an idiot as Anakin landed behind him and cut in half, along with one of his hands, as Monma screamed in pain as Anakin grabbed Izuku's lightsaber from him and gave back to Izuku. Obi-Wan. Anakin. You beat the high ground. Anakin. Yeah. And. Obi-Wan. Qui-Gon would be proud. As I am. All Might. You villain. Anakin. Finish that sentence and that will be you straight down the middle. Anakin and the others turned to leave, but Aizawa stopped him in a last-ditch effort to be forgiven. Aizawa. Damn it, problem child, is there any way for you to forgive me? Izuku stopped as he turned around to face his former teacher. Izuku. Say my name. Aizawa. What? Izuku. Say. My. Name. Unless you forgot it. Aizawa. I haven't forgotten your name. Izuku. Then say it. Aizawa. Is. An I. Lad King. Oh, you have to be fucking kidding. I barely know the kid yet I remember his name. Izuku. And you lost your chance at forgiveness. You won't live to see my forgiveness. Oh wait, you've gone blind thanks to Vader. Aizawa started to break down and start crying as Izuku rolled his eyes as his classmates were pissed that he didn't care he made Aizawa cry. Mina. You bastard. Don't you care you made Mr. Aizawa cry? Izuku. Honestly, I'm surprised he had the capability to cry. Haminari. He taught you lots of things. Izuku. The only things he taught me were lies. I see past the lies of this world. All Might. Inko, please, be reasonable. Inko. I am being reasonable, my mother would be disappointed in you. Also, we are no longer married and I sent a recording to all the news stations telling about what you and Kitsuki did to Izuku and about One for All. Might's eyes widened with fear as he realized that he was done for if One for All is discovered by the public, but had no choice but to accept as Multi refused to accept reality. Multi. Izuku, I demand you get back to me right now and be a stay-at-home husband. Izuku. I'd rather do anything other than that. Besides, our marriage papers were destroyed when I was sent to prison, so I am yours no longer. Multi started walking towards Izuku but stopped as Anakin's lightsaber was being pointed at her by Eri. Multi. Eri, please get your father to think straight before I punish him as I did to you. Eri. No, Papa wouldn't become yours and I won't be your slave. I will become a Jedi, like my Papa and Grandpa before me. Multi ultimately backed off as Anakin lifted Eri onto his shoulders as the group entered the ship and left Earth to begin a new journey among the stars. Meanwhile, the traitors looked to see the damage caused by Vader, Minetta's dead body and Monoma still being alive despite losing his bottom half as they knew that they screwed up big time. As the ship left the atmosphere of Earth, the entire group talking as Izuku explained what One for All was to those who didn't know as Anakin and Obi-Wan were honestly surprised that Izuku had access to multiple powers at once as they all spent their time training through their trip and relaxing as Izuku's skills kept increasing steadily as the others were slowly but surely catching up to him. Meanwhile, Bastila was teaching Eri the basics of being a Jedi, which also doubled as an excuse for her to get to bond with Eri as Bastila was intrigued by Eri's adorableness, and who can blame her? Eri. Ms. Bastila, you're a Jedi Knight like my Papa and Grandpa, right? Bastila. No, your grandfather's a Jedi Master while your father's still a Padawan. Eri. What's a Padawan? Bastila. How can one child be so otherworldly adorable? Bastila then explained to Eri the 4 basic Jedi ranks: Youngling, Padawan, Jedi Knight and Jedi Master, as Eri was intrigued by what she was learning about Jedi. Eri. So Padawans are students basically. Bastila. Right. And once they pass the Jedi trails, they become Jedi Knights, and once they become a Knight they are placed into 3 different classifications: Consular, Guardian or Sentinel. Guardians focus more on combat, Consulars focus more on their usage of the Force, while Sentinels are a mixture of both. Eerie? Wow. Eerie and Bastila finishing training as Bastila took a break as Eerie decided to meditate as Bastila ran into Izuku. Izuku? You seem to know what you're doing with kids. Bastila. Being a mother is something I'm great at. Izuku and Bastila watched Eerie meditate as Bastila smiled. Bastila. Eerie is a special child. So full of joy, life, hope and cuteness. Izuku. She really is. Bastila. How did Eerie become your daughter in the first place? If you don't mind me asking. Izuku's face darkened as Bastila worried she said something wrong. Izuku. Believe it or not, Eerie didn't have the greatest upbringing. When she was younger, she accidentally used her quirk to rewind her biological father out of existence, which led to her mother abandoning Eerie with her grandfather who was a Yakuza boss, believing her to be cursed. That feeling only got worse after she was adopted by her grandfather's underling Overhaul. Izuku's face got darker as Bastila sensed lots of anger and rage from Izuku as he continued his story. Izuku. Overhaul believed quirks were a curse to Earth and saw Eerie's quirk as a way to rid the world of quirks by experimenting on her to harness her quirk, which her grandfather forbid due to being sociopathic, which led to Overhaul putting him into a coma, allowing him to experiment on Eerie to his heart's content. Eerie spent years of her life being cut open and put back together and being told she was cursed and only leads to the death of others by Overhaul. Bastila was taken aback by as she couldn't believe anyone would put an innocent child through that kind of torment and pain. Izuku. When I found Eerie and discovered what Overhaul had done to her, I lost control and attacked him, not pulling any punches and without a care if I exposed myself as a Jedi. I beat Overhaul to an inch of his life, making him suffer for putting a little girl through that, but against my better judgment, I let that son of a bitch live. I should have killed him. Bastila. How could a grown man do that to such a sweet girl like Eerie? Izuku. The galaxy is filled with people like that. The best part. When I found Eerie, Tagada, the one who the symbol of stupidity gave one for all temporary to, told me to leave Eerie with Overhaul, believing her to be his daughter, despite the clear and obvious signs of Eerie being abused. Bastila. How could anyone be that blind? Izuku. Tagada always thought with his fists. Except when it came to Najire, in that case he always thought with his penis. Bastila. What did you do to him anyway? Cut him in half like that copycat. Izuku. Nah, just slashed his leg. He wasn't worth doing anything major to. Momo, Kyoka, Achako and Izumi all walked in as Eerie ran over to Momo and Kyoka as she tugged on their pants. Eerie. Mommy Momo, Mommy Kyoka, look what Ms. Bastila helped me with. Eerie managed to lift and move around multiple heavy objects with the Force without difficulty, as Momo was happy with what Eerie did as she hugged her baby girl. Momo. That's great, sweetie. Izuku. Imagine what you could do with the Force with more training. Eerie. Like pulling down a spaceship from midair. Eerie. I want to be able to pull down a spaceship. Bastila. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves, Eerie, even the strongest Force users in history couldn't be able to pull down a Star Destroyer. 26. Eerie. I bet Papa and Grandpa could. They're so strong. Anakin. That's my granddaughter. Everyone turned to see Anakin leaning on the wall and smiling at the praise he was getting from his granddaughter. Eerie. Grandpa. Anakin. Mind if I take Eerie off your hands for a while, Izuku? Izuku. Sure, Dad. Eerie jumped onto Anakin's shoulder as the two went to another part of the ship as the young Jedi all sat together. Izuku. Oh, when my mom finds out, she's going to freak big time. Momo. I sure hope your mom will accept me and Kyoka, Zuzu. Izuku. She will. Don't worry. Izuku suddenly froze as he saw a series of brief visions of a mysterious figure holding 2 lightsabers, one purple and the other red. Momo. Zuzu, you okay? Izuku. I'm fine. Just zoned out for a second. But Anakin and Eerie. Anakin was telling Eerie stories of his past shenanigans before and during the Clone Wars as Eerie started to get curious about her grandmother and decided to ask Anakin about her. Eerie. Grandpa, what's Grandma like? Anakin. Your grandmother is one of the bravest and strong-willed people in the galaxy. Not to mention she's pretty stubborn. Eerie. Papa's stubborn too. Anakin. Being stubborn runs in our family. Eerie. Is Grandma pretty? Anakin. Very pretty. The first time I met her, I had to make sure I wasn't dead because I swore up and down that she was an angel. Eerie. Will Grandma like me? Anakin. Of course she will. She will definitely be happy to have you as our granddaughter. Eerie. Yay. Obi-Wan. Anakin, get up here. Anakin made his way to the cockpit as the ship has left hyperspace, as the ship landed on the planet as they all left the ship, while Anakin held Eerie in his arms as they saw Padme waiting for them. Padme. Izuku. Izuku. Mom. Izuku ran to his mother and hugged her for the first time since he was a youngling, as he couldn't help letting some tears out. Izuku. I missed you so much, Mom. Padme. I missed you too, sweetie, and you've grown so much. It was only yesterday where I could hold you in my arms. Izuku. Had to happen sometime, Mom. Padme smiled as she started playing with Izuku's hair. Padme. You're just as handsome as your father. Anakin. Hey, Izuku and Luke had to get their good looks from somewhere. Padme. Inko, thank you for taking care of my baby. Inko. It's what friends are for, Padme. Padme. Also, sorry about your divorce. Inko. Don't be. It was bound to happen eventually. Padme noticed Momo and Kyoka beside Izuku as they both tensed up a little. Padme. And who are these nice girls? Momo. I'm Momo Yaoirozu and this is Kyoka Jiro. And. We're both dating your son. To Momo's surprise, Padme hugged Momo and Kyoka, which definitely caught Kyoka by surprise. Izuku. Told you she'd like you too. Padme. I'm happy my baby boy has two beautiful girlfriends who love him. Ichako. So, you're fine with your son dating multiple girls, Mrs. Skywalker? Padme. Just call me Padme. And to answer your question, Ani and I are fine with it as long as they genuinely love Izuku. Hiroshima, Shoto, Shoji and Kota turned to the girls as they automatically knew what was going through their minds. Shoto. She basically just gave them her blessings to date Izuku, but they have to prove their love first. Hiroshima. Especially to Yaoirozu and Jiro. Ichako and Izumi and Najira and Namuri and Himiko. So I do have a shot. Inko. I wonder if Izuku is into older women. Wait, what the hell am I thinking? Obi-Wan. Oh boy. Anakin. She just really wants grandkids that badly. Oh damn, who's going to tell her about Eerie? Padme then noticed Eerie hiding in Anakin's robe as Eerie popped her head out. Padme. Aw, who's this little angel? Eerie. Hi Grandma. Padme. GG Grandma. Izuku. Mom, this is Eerie, my adopted daughter. Padme froze in place as Anakin waved his hand in front of her. Anakin. Padme. Izuku. Crap, I think I broke her. Padme screamed at the top of her lungs with joy as she picked up Eerie and gave her grandbaby a big hug. Padme. Ani, we're grandparents. Isn't this great? Anakin. Yeah it is. Obi-Wan. Great for all except for our ears. Izuku's older sister Leia came running towards her mother as she had her lightsaber and a blaster on her. Leia. Mom, I heard you screaming, what's? Izuku. Izuku. Hey big sis. Leia ran over to Izuku and hugged him as Izuku was blushing out of embarrassment, making all the girls giggle. Izuku. Leia. Leia. What, I can't hug my little brother after being spirited for over 10 years. Izuku. No. Leia. Then shut up and let me hug you. Shoto. Older sister's Amorite. Izuku flipped Shoto off, which Eerie didn't notice as she was too busy being preoccupied with her grandparents, as three more people showed up, a young blonde man Izuku recognized as his older brother Luke, with a red-eyed woman holding his arm, and a man that looked like a scruffy-looking nerf herder. Luke. Izuku. Izuku. Hey Luke. Luke. You've gotten taller. Izuku. And I see Dad's fashion sense has rubbed off on you. Luke. Like you're one to talk. Izuku. Touché. So who's the red-eyed? Luke. This is Mara Jade, my girlfriend. Izuku introduced himself and his girlfriends to Mara, who hugged all three of them, as Luke couldn't help but smile. Mara. It's so nice to finally meet Luke's little brother. Momo. Finally, a girl with red hair who doesn't make me want to cause an accident. Kyoka. Amen to that, sister. Shoto. I'm surprised they aren't questioning Izuku having two girlfriends. Hiroshima. Dude, they've been all over the galaxy, you think they haven't visited some parts of the galaxy where that's part of the culture? Shoto. Good point. Izuku. And what's the deal with the scruffy-looking nerf herder? Han Solo, captain of the Millennium Falcon and the best pilot in the galaxy. Anakin. Coughs, second best. Luke. Whispers to Izuku. Also Leia is 100% into him, but she won't admit it. Izuku. She's got both mom and dad stubbornness. Luke. We all do. Izuku. Picks up Eerie. Meet your Uncle Luke and Aunts Leia and Mara. Eerie. Hi Uncle Luke, Auntie Leia and Auntie Mara. Leia. Hang on, we have a niece. Izuku gave Eerie to Luke as Eerie smiled at her uncle and made Luke's heart melt. If Luke thought he saw some adorable creatures throughout the galaxy, Eerie definitely put that thought to shame. Mara. How is the kid that damn adorable? Izuku. Trust me, I've been trying to find that out, but it is one of the galaxy's greatest mysterious. Anakin. Kind of like Master Yoda's species. Or why you crash every time you fly. Anakin smiled and shook his head as he turned to see his apprentice. Anakin. Glad you could join us, Nips. Ahsoka. And Miss Izuku coming back. I wouldn't miss it. Ahsoka walked to Izuku and picked him up and hugged him as Izuku hugged back. Ahsoka. Well, what do you know, little Skyboy's all grown up. Momo. Skyboy. Ahsoka. It's a nickname I gave him when he was little. I gave Anakin a nickname, so I figured it was fair to give his kids nicknames. Izuku just kept looking at Ahsoka as she wondered why he was looking at her. Ahsoka. Something wrong, Izuku? Izuku. Nothing, Ahsoka, you just gotten more beautiful over the years. To everyone's surprise, Ahsoka was blushing and flustered at Izuku's compliment, as Anakin and Obi-Wan were definitely surprised. Anakin. You have to have otherworldly charm to make Ahsoka flustered. Obi-Wan. And the guts to say it in front of you. Anakin. He's my son. Of course, I'm giving him a free pass. Ahsoka. You think I'm beautiful? Izuku. Very. You make the brightest stars in the galaxy look dull by comparison. Momo. Do I hear 8? Suddenly a woman entered the area as Inko immediately recognized her as she started tearing up. Inko. Mom. Nana. Hi, sweetie. It's been a long time. Inko ran and hugged her mother as hard as she could and was letting the tears out. Inko. I thought you were dead. Nana. Legends never die, Inko. Izumi. Grandma. Nana. Aw, look at my adorable granddaughter. Inko. How did you end up here anyway? Nana. Not really sure. When I was fighting All for One, a flashing light blinded both of us and next thing I knew, I was all the way out here in front of Obi-Wan and Anakin. Wait, how was I thought to be dead? Inko. Toshinori said that All for One murdered you in cold blood right in front of him. Nana. All for One? Sure, he tried to steal one for all from me God knows how many times, but he never tried to kill me. And for the life of me I don't know why. Inko. So bitch might lied about All for One killing my mom. Nana. Speaking of Tashi, how's that knucklehead doing? Everyone got cold feet as they told Nana everything that Ass Mike did since her death, and to say she was disappointed was an understatement. Nana. That brain-dead idiot. I taught him better than that. Damn it, I'm a failure of a teacher. Your fault it is not. Only himself to blame, your former apprentice has. Everyone turned to see a small green frog man as Anakin, Obi-Wan, Ahsoka and Bastila bowed before him. Anakin. Master Yoda. Yoda. Returned with your son, you have Skywalker. Izuku sensed how powerful Yoda is and immediately knew that he was not to be taken lightly as Izuku bowed before the old Grand Master. Yoda. Despite your lack of proper training, quite powerful you are. Izuku. Thank you, Master Yoda. Yoda. Dangerous, Palpatine and Vader are. Intense your training shall be. Izuku. We accept the challenge, Master Yoda. Obi-Wan. He's definitely your son, Anakin. The group was subjected to training for 2 weeks, as Izuku and the Force Sensitives were training their lightsaber and Force abilities, while Namuri and Himiko doing training with the rebels stationed on the planet as they learned how to use blasters. Naturally, due to being the son of the Chosen One and with his training on Earth, Izuku was farther ahead than his friends while they were advancing upon the training they did earlier, as all of them were properly taught lightsaber combat, albeit Izuku was doing more advanced lighting training than the others, and training to further push and perfect their usage of the Force. Meanwhile Bastila, Leia and Mara were arguing over who should supervise Iri's training, as Leia and Mara both felt they should be the ones training Iri instead of Bastila, despite Bastila technically having more experience than both of them combined. And before it could escalate, Luke brought up the idea of them teaching Iri together as Iri having multiple teachers would be beneficial for her training. After the 2 weeks, Izuku, Momo, Kyoka and Iri were in their shared chamber as they were getting ready to go to sleep after finishing their training. Momo. God, Jedi training is more intense than I was expecting. Kyoka. You know, the 2 weeks of training we had to become Jedi somehow was more effective than all the training we did at UA. Izuku. Jedi don't mess around with training, my rockstar and creaty. Jedi have to be ready and strong enough to combat any threat when there is no other options. Izuku jumped into bed as he saw the blanket and pillows start floating, as he saw Iri with her hand out, as Izuku just shook his head. Izuku. Iri. Iri. Sorry, Papa. Izuku shook his head as Momo picked Iri up and got into bed as Kyoka got into bed too and grabbed Izuku. Izuku. I swear, not even a month, and Ahsoka is already rubbing off on you, Snowball. Momo. Either her or your father. Izuku. Probably both in all honesty. The family went to sleep as after a while, Izuku woke up and was shocked with what he saw. Izuku saw that he was in his mindscape but didn't see any of the previous one for all users as he saw the same figure he saw earlier with the purple and red lightsabers as Izuku got a better look at the figure. Izuku? Who are you, Jedi or Sith? The figure didn't answer as Izuku was starting to get a bit panicked due to the figure holding a red lightsaber and as Izuku activated his lightsaber as he sensed his power. Whether or not the figure is as strong as Anakin or even stronger remains to be seen. The figure rushed Izuku as Izuku dodged and ignited his lightsaber as he clashed with the figure's sabers as Izuku pushed him back with the force as Izuku rushed him with full cowling at 50%. Not bad. Despite not having formal training most your life, you are quite powerful. Izuku? You'll find I'm full of surprises. Izuku jumped over the figure as he hit him with a Delaware smash, sending the figure back as he caught himself as Izuku grabbed the figure's leg with Black Whip and slammed the figure into the ground. The figure got back up and fired Force Lightning at Izuku as they engaged in a force lock with Izuku lost as he went back as Izuku started putting all his strength into his saber strikes as he managed to push the figure back as the figure was blocking all Izuku's strikes before launching a counterattack as he pushed Izuku back with no difficulty as he managed to launch Izuku's lightsaber out of his hand, hit him with Force Lightning and was sent flying by a charged force push. Izuku found himself on the ground as the figure stood over him and to Izuku's surprise, deactivated his lightsabers and grabbed Izuku's lightsaber with the force and gave it back to him. Not bad, but you still have ways to go to achieve the power within you in both the light and the dark. Izuku. Wait, who are you? My name is Reborn. Izuku was about to ask further questions as he suddenly started seeing different events that happened in the past. Anakin dueling Vader on some lava planet, untold amounts of Jedi and younglings being slaughtered by blaster fire and a red lightsaber. A young Jedi running away from Vader in a fortress that looked to be underwater and some type of space station getting blown up as Izuku woke up again. Izuku saw he was back in his room as he saw Momo and Kyoka sleeping beside him, along with Eri cuddling with Momo as Izuku got out of bed and left his room as he went to clear his mind. Izuku? That wasn't a dream. I was in my mindscape like when I talked with the previous one for all users, but I could actually move and it felt real. And this Reborn, it's like I know him somehow. Izuku's mind was filled with so many questions that he didn't have answers for as Izuku didn't notice Bastila enter the room he was in. Bastila. Didn't think you were a night owl. Izuku. Oh Bastila, I just needed to clear my mind. I had a crazy dream. Bastila. Doesn't feel like it. I can sense distress in your mind, so it can't be a simple dream that's keeping you up. Izuku. Damn, she's good at reading people. Izuku sighed as he figured that Bastila could know something about who Reborn is. Izuku. Bastila, you wouldn't happen to have known someone named Reborn, would you? Bastila's eyes widened at the mention of Reborn's name as tears began to form in her eyes. Palpatine was looking out the window as he was waiting for both Vader and Starkiller's return and was getting a bit impatient. Not only were the rebels able to destroy the Death Star, but now Anakin has rounded up new Jedi to help them. Yeah, things haven't been looking too good for the Empire as of recently. Palpatine still remembers when Vader called him to inform him of the destruction of the Death Star. And let's just say Palpatine was swearing like a sailor when he heard those words leave Vader's mouth. Palpatine then saw Starkiller's ship entering the planet's atmosphere with Megatron beside him in jet mode as Palpatine left to greet them. Starkiller exited his ship and bowed before Palpatine as Megatron transformed back into robot form. Starkiller. I have returned Emperor Sidious. Palpatine. I assume you destroyed the rebel base, Lord Starkiller. Starkiller. I killed them all. Palpatine. Good. Palpatine turned and looked up at the Decepticon leader as Megatron crouched to get a better look at Palpatine. Palpatine. Megatron, I am very pleased you have decided to take up my offer. Megatron. As am I, Palpatine. So, what are the details of our alliance? Palpatine. You have complete access to all Imperial technology, resources, records, and worlds under Imperial control. Megatron. Good. The sooner I find and kill Optimus, the sooner I can return to Cybertron as its rightful leader. Palpatine, Starkiller and Megatron saw a transport ship arrive as Vader exited the ship and bowed before his master. Palpatine. Welcome back, Lord Vader. I hope that you brought in something good to turn the battle with the rebellion back into our favor. Vader. I have, Master. The bunch of villains that Vader had freed from Tartarus left the ship as Palpatine was amazed Vader managed to find this many new recruits for the Empire. Palpatine. My lord, where'd you find all these people, Vader? Vader. After my battle with Skywalker, I found myself near a prison called Tartarus as I sensed great anger from all who resided there. Palpatine. What did you do to convince them to join? Vader. By freeing them and letting them kill the guards. Palpatine. And do they all look like freaks? Because some of them make Starkiller look like a damn supermodel despite how fucked up he looks under his mask. Am I right or am I right? Starkiller. Don't remind me, Emperor. I still need to pay Marek for what he did to me. Vader. And in time, you will my apprentice. Now time for the real turning point. The League of Villains along with Overhaul exited the ship as they walked before Palpatine. Vader. They are Force sensitive and have the most rage and hatred that I have sensed. Palpatine. Good Vader, good. This shall do quite nicely for us. All for one. I am all for one. It is an honor to make your acquaintance, Emperor Sidious. Palpatine. Just call me Palpatine. Shigaraki. Master, are you seriously going to work with these things? We are far superior to them. Megatron. Watch how you speak to me, Fleshing. I am Megatron, leader of the Decepticons. Shigaraki. I would rather die to take orders from a bucket of bolts and two cowards hiding behind masks. Before Shigaraki could finish his rant, Starkiller grabbed him using the Force and shock slammed him into the ground as he held his throat tightly. Starkiller. I would choose your next words wisely, man-child. Vader. Starkiller, release him. Starkiller. As you wish, Master. Starkiller released Shigaraki as he got up, holding his neck, and he was pissed. Shigaraki. Master, are you just going to stand there? All for one. Kinetamura. You, Dobby and Twice are still on thin fucking ice for that stunt you pulled on Toga. Be grateful I didn't betray you and leave you to the heroes. Shigaraki shut his mouth as All for One bowed before Palpatine. All for one. Please forgive my successor's insolence, my lord. Palpatine. I let it slide for now, but you must work on his attitude, All for one. You all are our best bet at turning the tide back to our favor, and I don't want to put that in jeopardy. All for one. Understood, Emperor. Palpatine gave Megatron a list of all Imperial-controlled planets as Megatron saw a red and white jet arrive and transform into a robot. Megatron. Starscream. Starscream. What is your command, Lord Megatron? Megatron. Assemble the Seekers and scour these planets for resources while I rally the rest of the Decepticons and inform them of our alliance with the Empire. The Autobots' end is near. Starscream. As you command, Lord Megatron. Megatron gave Starscream the list of planets as both Starscream and Megatron transformed into their jet modes and left the planet. Palpatine. Starkiller, take our new recruits to the training ground. Starkiller left with a Law and Overhaul as Palpatine and Vader were alone. Palpatine. Take your helmet off, Vader, you have had that thing on for far too long. I want to see the true face of my apprentice. Vader obliged Palpatine's order as he took off his helmet as it fell to the ground, as looking back at Palpatine was a dark and corrupted version of Anakin. As for that is Darth Vader's big secret, he is the clone of Anakin Skywalker. Palpatine. So, you're going all in for this? Vader. Yes, my master. Granted they seem disorganized and sloppy for lack of a better term, but with time and patience, they shall prove to be of incredible use to us. Palpatine. And this Melrimer girl, I sense you have big plans for her. Vader. Yes. Once she is swayed to our side, then the fun can really begin. Palpatine. Good. Because of both of Anakin's sons, we need to be careful. They don't know Leia as Anakin's daughter yet. Vader. Indeed. Also, I sense that his youngest son Izuku might prove to be dangerous. Palpatine. What has led you to believe that? Vader. I sense something within him. Some kind of power linked to both the light and dark sides of the Force. Palpatine. Well, we should be careful then. That is all, Lord Vader. Vader put his mask back on as he left the room, as he saw Starkiller waiting for him as the two started walking. Starkiller. You seem pretty lack given you're getting back into the grove of train multiple people ago, Master. Vader. I will not be the one training them. You are, my apprentice. Starkiller. Me? Why me? Vader. Given the increase in the amount of attacks from the rebellion, I won't have nearly enough time to myself to train as I am the face of the Empire. Starkiller. But I'm not ready to have an apprentice, much less an entire group. Vader. Perhaps I should be more clear. You will be training them, but not as full-fledged Sith Lords. Starkiller. You want me to train them to become Inquisitors? Vader. Yes. In the grand scheme of things, they are all insignificant compared to Melrimer's potential in the dark side. Starkiller. And what makes you so sure she won't betray us once she reaches a certain point in her power? Vader. She won't. People like her always follow those stronger than them, so as long as she knows our true strength, she will forever be loyal to the Empire. Starkiller. If you insist, Master. Vader walked towards an elevator as he turned to his apprentice. Vader. You must be ruthless with your training, my apprentice. Pull no punches and mold them into relentless Sith warriors. Starkiller. It shall be done, my master. A week has passed since Vader brought the League of Villains to the Empire, as Starkiller oversaw their training like Vader commanded and pulled no punches. Starkiller taught them how to use lightsabers along with teaching them how to use the Force, along with the more advanced techniques he knows. But the training could be going better. During the training, Starkiller would constantly wail on Shigaraki whenever he was getting pissy with the training or trying to be hot shit, and doing that to Shigaraki is the highlight of Starkiller's day. Matter of fact, Starkiller had low interest in most of them. Twice kept annoying Starkiller due to his dual personality, constantly both praising and insulting him, ultimately leading to Starkiller not knowing if it's genuine or if Twice is doing it on purpose to hide his true thoughts on him. Dabi kept undermining his training and barely putting in any effort, and his constant berating and disrespect of Starkiller led to Starkiller being extra hard on Dabi until he realizes he is nothing to Starkiller. And after learning what Shigaraki, Twice and Dabi did to Himiko, Starkiller lost any possible respect for any of them. Starkiller might be a Sith Lord, but even Sith Lords have standards. Overhaul might be the one to piss Starkiller off the most. Overhaul made it clear that his intention is to making himself stronger, as he could care less about the Empire, and as he also made his distaste for Palpatine and Vader clear. Hell, once when a group of stormtroopers wanted to simply greet him, he used his quirk to kill them all for no reason. At least when Vader does it, it's when they have failed him. Overhaul's ego and delusions of grandeur led to Starkiller having suspicions that Overhaul plans on usurping the Empire from Palpatine, as Starkiller ordered to have constant surveillance on Overhaul at all times. All for one, honestly Starkiller doesn't know what to think about him, other than the fact that something is up with him, but at this point, Starkiller doesn't care about it, nor does he want to find out more about it. Out of all of them, the only one Starkiller seems to like are Spinner and Compress. They both put into effort in their training and genuinely have respect for Starkiller's authority and strength. Granted, Compress's showmanship can lead to possible capture on the battlefield, and Spinner's admiration for Stain is limiting his true potential, but that's something Starkiller can deal with. At the end of the week of training, Starkiller was meditating in his chamber as Vader entered as Starkiller bowed before his master. Vader. How is the training going, Starkiller? Starkiller. Could be better. It's like I'm training a bunch of brats. Vader. I can sense it within you, my apprentice. Now, I have a new assignment for you. Starkiller was relieved that he has a break from being a teacher. Starkiller. What is it, my master? Vader. You will head to Kashyyyk to oversee the completion of the Skyhook and defend it. I believe the rebels will try to destroy the Skyhook due to the Wookiee Chewbacca among their ranks. Overhaul had already been sent there to counter any resistance. Starkiller scoffed at the mention of Overhaul before realizing something. Starkiller. And what if Marek shows his face? Kashyyyk is his homeworld after all. Vader. Do what you must to hold him off, but don't lose sight of your mission. Remember what happened the last time that happened. Starkiller. Yes. As you command, my master. Starkiller got up as he prepared to leave as Vader just looked at his apprentice. Vader. Last time, we were barely able to sustain you, Starkiller. With the damage you sustained, it was a miracle you were to your hatred to be able to survive. I'd hate you lose, my son. Bastila. Where did you hear that name? Izuku didn't know how to answer Bastila's question, as he wasn't sure if she'd believe him if he told her he battled Revan in his head, so he decided to leave that part out and just mention his visions. So he's technically not lying. Izuku. Well, I had visions while I was sleeping, and Revan was in a few, and I saw you in some of them, so I figured you'd be the best to ask. Izuku. Well, I heard from my dad that he was a Jedi, then became a Sith, then went back to a Jedi again after being betrayed by his apprentice and getting his memories wiped. Bastila. That's a very barebones version of the story. Izuku. Well, I'm ears. Bastila then told Izuku everything about her and Revan as Izuku listened to it all and was in awe of what he heard. Especially the part when Revan managed to bring Bastila back from the dark side through love, as Izuku only had one question at the end of the story. Izuku. How did you know about the parts you weren't there for? Bastila face flamed as she saw her lightsaber wasn't on her belt as she looked at Izuku and saw he had her lightsaber in his hand. Bastila. How'd you get my lightsaber without me noticing? Izuku. You weren't concentrating. Izuku ignited her lightsaber as he examined the blade as its yellow glow lit up his face. Izuku. Yellow, huh? Sign of a Jedi who puts equal amount into mastery of combat and their skill with the Force. Bastila. I'm surprised you know that. Izuku. I've always been a sucker for knowledge. It's one of the reasons I love Momo so much. And right on cue, Momo came rushing out of their room in a panic. Izuku. Momo, what's wrong, honey? Momo. Irie's gone. Izuku. What? Momo. Me and Kyoka woke up and saw Irie was gone. Izuku. Momo, relax. Let's use the force to find Eri and… Izuku saw a car drive by outside as he saw it was a Volkswagen. Izuku? Was that a Volkswagen Beetle? If so, why is there a Volkswagen in space? Bastila. Heh, classic Bumblebee. Izuku and Momo then saw some kind of futuristic sports car race by as they went outside as they saw Eri jump out of the Volkswagen as it and the sports car transformed, which Izuku and Momo saw the Autobot symbol on both of them. Eri? Yay. That was fun, Bumblebee. Bumblebee. Glad you had fun, Eri. Eri looked to see Izuku and Momo walking towards her as she was happy to see them. Eri? Papa, Mommy, Momo. Bumblebee. Hey, you're the kid Optimus told us about. I'm Bumblebee and this is my best friend Hot Rod. Hot Rod. Wait, why doesn't Eri just call her mommy? Eri. I have two mommies. Mommy Momo and Mommy Kyoka. Hot Rod. You have two girlfriends, Izuku. Bumblebee. Why is that surprising you, Hot Rod? We've been to planets where that's common. Hot Rod. Yeah, but Earth isn't one of them. We've been on Earth for years and I never heard a thing like that there. Optimus. We still have lots to learn about Earth, Hot Rod. Bumblebee and Hot Rod. Optimus. Optimus lifted Bumblebee and gave the yellow Autobot a hug. Izuku. How did you get here, Optimus? Optimus. Space bridge. They're portals that transport us where we need to go, which helps when we're in a rush. Izuku. Sounds useful. The day went on as normal as Eri made friends with Chewbacca, who took an immediate liking to the little snow angel and vowed to kill anybody who dares to hurt her. Izuku meanwhile was currently training with Nana in both Jedi training and One for All as Izuku managed to beat her a few times. Nana. Not bad, kid, you're pretty good. Making you the 9th was definitely a smart decision. Izuku. Thanks. Nana. You should teach me how to access that full cal thing. Seems handy. Izuku couldn't keep his eyes off Nana as he couldn't deny she was very beautiful and saw where Inko got her beauty from. Nana. What is it? Izuku. Nothing. It's just I know where Inko and Izumi get their looks from. Nana couldn't help but blush at Izuku's compliment. He's had quite an effect on her as well as Inko and Izumi. He's quite the catch. Nana. Well, thank you. Izuku. Don't mention it. But Anakin, he was overseeing some of the rebels' training as he was surprised by his longtime friend and trusted soldier Captain Rex. Rex. General. Anakin. Rex. How's it going with the new recruits? Rex. Pretty good so far. They're coming along well, especially that Negan gal. She knows what she's doing. Anakin. From what kinda told me, she's experienced as a soldier, so it's natural she knows her way around a weapon. Obi-Wan then told everyone that the time has come to make their next move against the Empire as everyone gathered around as Obi-Wan began the briefing. Obi-Wan. Now, according to my contact inside the Empire, they are planning on constructing a skyhook on Kashyyyk. Izuku. What's a skyhook? Luke. They're massive structures used to assist transporting materials across the galaxy. Leia. They were banned by the Republic for being too potentially dangerous, but now the Empire lifted the ban. Obi-Wan. Now, this particular skyhook, when complete, will be used to transport Wookiee slaves to labor camps across the galaxy. Chewie could help but get enraged at what will become of his kind, as Han was able to calm him. Obi-Wan. We need to destroy the skyhook and drive the Empire completely off of Kashyyyk. Anakin. Izuku, Luke, Mara and Bastila will head to Kashyyyk, along with Solo and Chewie. Eri. Oh, but I wanted Ms. Bastila to keep teaching me. Bastila. Don't worry, Eri, this won't take long. In fact, when we get back, we'll resume your training right when I get back. Eri. Promise. Bastila. Promise. Eri hugged Bastila, which surprised her, but she hugged back as Izuku and his group got ready to depart for their mission. Momo. Be safe, Suzu. Izuku. I always am. Kyoka. We all know that's a load of crap. Izuku laughed and shook his head as he hugged the girls as Momo leaned and whispered in his ear. Momo. How about we spend some private time with just each other when you get back, Suzu? Izuku blushed as he nodded as Momo and Kyoka took turns to kiss him. Momo and Kyoka left to continue to train with Anakin as Izuku was getting ready to leave as he saw Ahsoka looking at him. Izuku. What? Ahsoka. You're just like Anakin. Izuku. Is that a bad thing? Ahsoka. Not bad at all. Izuku smiled at Ahsoka, which made her heart melt as she dove in and kissed Izuku on his cheek. Ahsoka. Good luck, Izuku. Izuku. Thanks, Ahsoka. Ahsoka rushed off as Izuku held his cheek and was surprised. Izuku. Wow, didn't expect that. I mean, Ahsoka is really pretty. However, Obi-Wan was off in the distance as he smirked to himself. Obi-Wan. Oh my, this should be good. Leia walked beside Obi-Wan as she rested her arm on his shoulder. Leia. He's turning into quite the chick magnet. Obi-Wan. Indeed he is. Izuku walked to his group as he saw Han's ship, the Millennium Falcon. Izuku. This is your ship. You're braver than I thought, Captain. Han. Looks are deceiving, kid. The group boarded the Falcon as Han put in coordinates for Kashyyyk as the ship took off. While the ship was flying to Kashyyyk, Izuku, Luke, Mara and Bastila were mediating. Bastila. Izuku, can I ask you something? Izuku. Shoot. Bastila. You said you were engaged to this Melramerk woman while dating Momo and Kyoka behind her back. What made you decide to do it? Luke. Yeah, I've been wondering that too. Was she that insufferable? Mara. Luke, if he was fine with cheating, I'm pretty sure she is. Izuku. You have no idea how insufferable she is, Luke. As for why I went with it, I'll admit, it was far from one of my best moments, but I loved Momo and Kyoka with all my heart, but I couldn't get out of the marriage, thanks to Asmite and Malty's father, so we decided to date in secret. Bastila. Couldn't get out. You mean it was an arranged marriage? Izuku. Yeah. But it could have been worse. Mara. How the hell could it be worse than being forced to marry someone you hate? Izuku. On Earth, there's this thing called quirk marriages, and its purpose is to create powerful child. Bastila. Having children, not out of love but for greed. That's beyond horrible, that's unforgivable. Izuku. Trust me, it is. Todoroki is the product of a quirk marriage and his life's been far from healthy. Luke. What do you mean by that? Izuku. That's something you should ask him, not me. Han. Sounds like this planet has lots of issues. They turned to see Han, leaning on the wall as he listened to their conversation. Izuku. You have no idea. We let Han know they left hyperspace as they landed as Kashyyyk in a spot where they couldn't be detected as they left the Falcon as they looked around. A few Imperial buildings and the planet didn't look as bad as they thought. Mara. This is not as bad as I thought it would have become. Izuku. I'm assuming that structure over there is the Skyhook. Izuku pointed in the distance at a weird structure, as Luke confirmed that it was as they made their way towards it. They kept to the shadows, killing stormtroopers who got close and hid the bodies, so they wouldn't raise suspensions as they got close to the Skyhook, as Luke took out a pair of binoculars and scoped the area. Luke. Okay, there's 8 tractor pins keeping it intact. Izuku. So, we destroy the pins, the Skyhook will go sky high. Luke nodded as he took count of all the stormtroopers down there as he saw someone that looked very different. Luke. Weird. There's someone with the stormtroopers. Mara. Who? Luke. He's not dressed like an Imperial officer, and he's definitely not dressed like a stormtrooper. He has gloves on and has some kind of mask that looks like a beak. Izuku's eyes widened as he stole the binoculars from Luke as he saw who it was. Overhaul. He still has his hands. Izuku. Overhaul, that bastard. Bastila. Didn't you say that's who tortured Yuri? Izuku. The very same. Izuku gave Luke the binoculars back as Izuku's anger started rising as Overhaul walked off as Izuku followed suit. Han. Kid, where you going? Izuku. After Overhaul. Bastila. Are you crazy? We have a mission. Izuku. I know. Somehow, Overhaul has joined forces with the Empire and we're here to get the Empire off the planet. Mara. But by yourself. I'm sensing some lots of strength coming from him. Izuku. I beat him once and I'll damn well do it again. Luke. We're getting nowhere. Izuku, you can go after Overhaul as long as you take Bastila with you. Bastila blushed a bit at the idea of being with Izuku alone, as Izuku accepts the terms. Izuku. Fine with me. Come on. Izuku and Bastila went after Overhaul, while Luke and Mara looked at them. Luke. Are you sensing some kind of bond between them, babe, or is it just me? Mara. No, I'm sensing something too. Luke's group continued to the Skyhook while Izuku and Bastila tailed Overhaul, killing a few stormtroopers on the way as they eventually concerned him inside a watchtower. Overhaul turned to face them as he saw Izuku and was pissed. Overhaul. Deku. Izuku. I'm flattered you remember me, Overhaul, but that's not my name anymore. I am Izuku Skywalker. Overhaul. You may have beaten me once, but now with my new power, I will achieve my goal of eliminating all heroes and quirks. Overhaul tried to push them away with the force, but Izuku and Bastila reflected the blast, while Overhaul was shocked they could use the force, as Izuku and Bastila activated their lightsabers. Izuku. I'll kill you for everything you did to Yuri. Overhaul ignited his lightsaber he got from the Empire as Izuku rushed him as they clashed as Izuku used the force to destroy the room so that Overhaul couldn't use his quirk on any parts of it to use against them. Izuku was not pulling any punches as he struck Overhaul's saber over and over again as Izuku threw Overhaul off his feet as he used Black Whip to choke Overhaul. Izuku. You're beaten. Surrender and I might spare your life. Overhaul pushed Izuku back as he ran into another room as Izuku and Bastila ran after him as they cornered him. Bastila. It's over. Bastila charged Overhaul, who smirked under his mask as he waited for Bastila to get closer as he used his quirk on the part Bastila was standing on. Izuku. Bastila, wait. Bastila stopped as Overhaul used his quirk on the part of the floor she was standing on as Izuku grabbed her with Black Whip and pulled her back. Izuku. That was close. Bastila. What was that? Izuku. Overhaul's quirk. He can take things apart and put them back together. Bastila. Good to know. The two started attacking Overhaul again as they kept the former Yakuza member on his toes. Izuku's aggression combined with Bastila's agility kept Overhaul not have any breathing room as Izuku used Force Lightning to force Overhaul to surrender, which didn't work as Izuku pushed his lightning to power lengths. Overhaul then used his quirk and the force to destroy the building as Izuku stopped using his lightning and picked up Bastila and used float to escape the collapsing building as Overhaul fell with it. Izuku. You okay, Bastila? Bastila. I'm fine. Izuku put her down as Overhaul got out of the rubble as Izuku and Bastila prepared to keep fighting. Meanwhile with Luke, Mara, Han and Chiwi, they were attacking the troppers guarding the skyhook as Han and Chiwi destroyed all the buildings as Luke and Mara used the force to lift and destroy the pins, and before they could finish the final two, a street came out of the structure as a last line of defense. Luke. Yeah, it's been too easy so far. Back with Izuku, he bashed Overhaul into the ground as he threw him back on his feet as Bastila threw a log at Overhaul, sending him into a nearby cliff as Izuku activated full cowl at 50% and started going apeshit on him. Bastila was surprised by Izuku's power boost and couldn't help but be interested. Overhaul. Please, no more. Izuku. Don't think so. Izuku kicked Overhaul back onto his feet before stabbing him in his side with his lightsaber before Izuku then cut off Overhaul's hands as his lightsaber flew into the air as Izuku caught it as Overhaul dropped to his knees. Izuku had Overhaul at his mercy as he was about to kill him, but Bastila he put her hand on his shoulder. Bastila. Izuku, don't. Izuku. Why shouldn't I? He's put Eri through so much pain and suffering because of something she couldn't control. He should die. Bastila. That may be true, but Jedi don't kill their prisoners. Izuku. Mercy doesn't defeat the enemy, Bastila. Bastila. Still, you kill him, you won't be better than him. Izuku considered his options as he deactivated the lightsabers as he threw Overhaul's saber away as he calmed down and saw the skyhook being destroyed as he and Bastila started to celebrate. Suddenly Izuku and Bastila felt complete and utter rage and hatred as they looked to see who they were sensing. Starkiller. Izuku and Bastila saw Starkiller loom over Overhaul, who looked at Starkiller completely enraged. Izuku. Bastila, who's that? Bastila. Starkiller, Vader's apprentice. Overhaul. What are you doing here? Starkiller. Cleaning your mess. Overhaul. Vader trusted me and me alone for this mission. Starkiller. Well, clearly he didn't and you weren't doing your job. Starkiller points to where the skyhook was as it was already destroyed as Overhaul looked scared and pissed. Starkiller. I'll deal with your failure later. Starkiller used a force to knock Overhaul unconscious, then sent him flying to where he landed his ship as he focused his attention on Izuku and Bastila as he ignited his lightsaber. Starkiller. Now, then. Izuku and Bastila ignited their lightsabers and prepared to fight Starkiller as Bastila ignited the second blade of her lightsaber and prepared to fight. Izuku. Okay, that's cool. Izuku and Bastila started attacking Starkiller, who blocked all their attacks with swift proficiency as he barely broke a sweat. Starkiller. Pathetic. You'll need to do better. Izuku tried to slash Starkiller, who pushed him back as he clashed with Bastila. Starkiller. Bastila-shan, you disappoint me. Surely the woman who tamed Darth Revan can do better than that. Bastila. You clearly don't know your history. Bastila managed to get in a slash on Starkiller's chest as she pushed him back into a wall. Bastila. There was no taming between me and Revan. Revan saved me for the horrors of becoming consumed by hate and rage. Starkiller. You bitch. Bastila. Last time I checked, I'm not a dog. Starkiller blasted her with force lightning before force pushing her into a wall, knocking her unconscious. Starkiller. How weakling-like you won Darth Revan over, I will never know. Izuku was enraged as something in him snapped as he felt like he watched someone he loved get hurt as he rushed Starkiller. Starkiller. Yes. You process great anger within you. Izuku. Spear me your Sith prattle. Izuku blasted Starkiller away as he used Black Whip to slam him into the ground as Izuku hit Starkiller with a powerful Delaware smash as Izuku clashed with Starkiller. Izuku. I will kill you. Starkiller. Wasting your power over someone you barely know. Typical Jedi. Starkiller pushed him back before he sensed someone too familiar to him as he heard their voice. Your honor really has dropped. Starkiller looked to see where the voice came from as he was filled with rage when he saw who it was. Balin Marek, the man he was cloned from and who was responsible for putting him in the hell he called armor. Starkiller. Marek. Balin grabbed his two lightsabers and ignited them, one blue and the other red, as Starkiller ignited his lightsaber. Balin rushed his evil clone as Starkiller changed his focus onto his genetic template as the two clashed as Izuku was surprised by Galen's strength. Balin. Kid, get out of here. Izuku listened to Galen as he picked up Bastila who was still unconscious as the two Starkillers continued to clash. The two were able to counter each other as they were equal in power, albeit Starkiller is slightly hindered due to his current state as their sabers clashed as blue and red light lit up the surrounding area. The two both fired force lightning at each other as they engaged in a force lock as they both struggled to overcome the other, but Starkiller managed to overtake Galen as he went flying back as Starkiller kicked him while he was down. Starkiller. Remind me why you hate me so much. Balin got back up as lifted Starkiller with a force and slammed him into the ground and tries to stab him in the chest, but Starkiller moved as the two clashed their sabers together. Balin. You killed my master. Starkiller. Ah yes, the late General Koda. The blind man put up quite the fight before I murdered him. The look of despair on your face when he hit the floor was quite priceless. Balin. Shut up. Starkiller. I wonder how you would react if I killed your best friend Luke Skywalker. Or even better, your precious Juno. The mention of losing either his best friend or the love of his life pushed Galen over the edge as he started overpowering Starkiller slowly but surely. Meanwhile, Izuku regrouped as Luke and the others who were cleaning up all remaining Imperial traces on Kashyyyk as Chiwi was freeing his Wookiee brethren as they saw he was distressed. Luke. Izuku, what happened to Bastila? Izuku. We got ambushed by someone named Starkiller showed up and he knocked Bastila out. Luke. Starkiller's here. Izuku. And he's fighting someone named Marek. Luke. Chiwi, get her to the Falcon. Chiwi nodded as he took Bastila to the Falcon as Luke looked to Izuku, Mara and Han. Luke. You guys finish clean up. Mara. Luke, where are you going? Luke. To help Galen. Back with Galen, he kept slamming his sabers against Starkiller's blade, who had trouble countering and blocking Galen's onslaught as Galen channeled his lightsaber through one of his sabers as he slammed it downwards, sending Starkiller flying back as Galen closed the distance between them. Galen threw Starkiller off his balance as he backhanded Starkiller so hard his helmet was knocked off his head as Galen saw how his clone looked under the mask. Galen. By the force, our last fight did a real number on you. No wonder you hide behind a mask like Vader. Starkiller. Oh, you think you're being cute. Galen. Bitch, I'm adorable. Starkiller. Fine. Starkiller reached one of his hands into the air as he summoned a storm lighting as Galen just watched with amusement. Galen. Oh, that's just precious. Starkiller then blasted it at Galen at full power, seemingly hitting him dead on, as Starkiller looked satisfied as he put his mask back on. Galen. You know, if you put that much effort into our last battle, maybe you won't be stuck inside that suit permanently. Starkiller saw Galen created a lightning shield that protected him from his attack. Galen. That all you got, you fake. Starkiller. Damn it. The two rushed each other as they continued their fight. Galen slashed Starkiller's leg as a rock went flying into Starkiller, sending the Dark Apprentice flying back as Galen saw Luke was the one who threw the rock. Galen. Luke. Luke. Hope you don't mind me cutting in. The two started tag-teaming Starkiller as every attack blocked from Galen left Starkiller open to be attacked by Luke and vice versa. Luke. You got a plan. Starkiller. Always do. Galen stayed back as Luke engaged Starkiller as the eldest Skywalker child held his own against the Dark Apprentice due to his multiple training sessions and missions alongside Galen. Luke kept hitting Starkiller's blade with powerful strikes as Starkiller was barely able to block them as he saw Galen charging force lightning before he shot it at his clone as Luke distracted him as the lightning hit Starkiller dead on as Galen put tons of force into his attack as the strength of the blast combined with the state Starkiller's body was in brought him to his knees. Galen and Luke had their sabers pointed at Starkiller as they had him dead to rights. Galen. Give up peacefully and I might spear you Starkiller. Starkiller refused to let himself be captured so easily as he blinded the two with a force as he blasted them away as he made a run of it and by the time they regained their eyesight, Starkiller was long gone as the two Jedi looked on in defeat. Galen. Damn it, he got away again. Luke. There's always next time partner. Besides, it's not all bad. All of the remaining Imperial forces either left the planet or were captured and were loaded into a transport ship to be sent to a rebel base to be interrogated as Chewie reunited with his family after all these years and introduced them to Han and the others as they along with the other Wookiees were grateful for their actions. Izuku meanwhile kept worrying about Bastila in the back of his mind as he went back to the Falcon as he saw her recovering from the fight with Starkiller as he sat near her. Izuku? I don't know why, but she's starting to seem as beautiful as Momo and Kyoka. Izuku touched her hand when he suddenly received a vision of Bastila wearing a white dress which he made out to be a wedding dress as he snapped back to reality as he sat down and grabbed his head. Izuku? Damn it, why is this happening to me? Why am I seeing her memories like they mean something to me? And why do I feel like to her somehow? Izuku turned his head as he saw Luke standing in the doorway. Izuku? Hey, what's up Luke? Luke? We're going to spend some time with Cheewie's family before we head back, want to join us? Izuku? No. I'll stay and keep an eye on Bastila. I don't know why, but something's telling me to. Luke nodded as he walked off as Izuku went to sleep for a bit. Izuku opened his eyes as he saw Revan standing near Bastila, watching her sleep. Revan. All these years later, and she is still beautiful as ever. Izuku. Okay Revan, I need some answers now. Why does it feel like I have kind of a bond with your wife, and why do I have the urge to keep her safe? Revan. I sense you have plenty of questions Izuku, and you will get the answers you need, just calm down first. Izuku listened to the masked Jedi as he calmed down as he sat down. Revan. Izuku Skywalker, you are my reincarnation. Izuku? Wait. Meanwhile, Starkiller was recovering at an Imperial base while Overhaul was being given cybernetic hands and was being a complete bitch about it, claiming they were filthy to the point where he was given anesthetics just to complete the procedure as Vader entered the room where Starkiller was healing as he bowed before his master. Starkiller? My master, I failed you. Our forces have been completely driven off of Kashyyyk. When I've regained my strength, I will return and reclaim control over it. Vader? Don't bother my apprentice, it was a lost cause. Starkiller. What? I don't understand. Vader. Given the nature of Wookiees and the rebel presence, it was only a matter of time before the planet fell from our control. But now, we know that Skywalker's youngest child is not to be taken lightly. I have a hunch about him, and if I am right, he might become the Revan of our time. Starkiller couldn't help but feel afraid of that possibility given how powerful Revan was, and to imagine a Skywalker with that power was truly a nightmare of them. Vader. Now, I have another mission for you, my apprentice. Starkiller. What is thy bidding, master? Vader. It is time to bring her to us. Back on Earth, things were not looking too good for UA. Not only was Tartarus destroyed by Vader, as the inmates who didn't leave with Vader to serve the Empire were free to run around to do as they please without risk of encapturement, hundreds of people turned up dead and areas completely destroyed, with no trace of how it happened, and the public were against all who betrayed Izuku. Nezu refused to face the media and discuss what happened due to them being done without his knowledge or permission, as he let Izawa do that, as the hobo teacher had to explain why he turned on one of his students, who he saw as a son so easily without hesitation, and why he didn't receive a trial. Nezu opened a secret safe as he pulled out a box and opened as he debated when he should reveal who he truly is, as he activated a green lightsaber. As for Ass Might, he had to cover his ass to the press about how the existence of One for All and All for One, and the fact he neglected a child that wasn't even his, a child of a Jedi no less, and that he was once quirkless before he got One for All, but abused a child for being quirkless and forcing him into an arranged marriage. Not only that, he managed to prevent Mirio from going to prison for being abusive, which dug him further into a grave for giving One for All to him, and his detective friend Tsukauchi cut all ties with him due to not even bothering to ask him to see if Izuku truly was guilty, since his quirk makes him a walking lie detector. The symbol of stupidity saw that his wound was slowly beginning to heal somehow, as he felt a small bit of One for All return to him, as he vowed to find Anakin and kill him and reclaim his family. Meanwhile, the students were split on the whole thing. Kendo, Tetsutetsu and Ibara believed Izuku couldn't have done it and were sad to hear that he left, while the rest of Class B were completely in a weird place. Sure, they did turn on Izuku, but most of them didn't really know Izuku too well compared to Class A and Ibara, Tetsuto and Itsuka. Mina was pissed that Kirishima left with him as she was crazy for him, but wasn't aware that she completely destroyed any feelings that Kirishima had for her when she betrayed Izuku, and completely hated the youngest Skywalker child for destroying the heart of her best friend Malti, even though Malti needs a heart in order to have it broken. Iida was pissed because Ichako left with Izuku, and Iida was madly in love with her and hated Izuku because she found him more appealing than him, the fact that he was voted class rep and not him, and the fact that Izuku stole Iida's chance of revenge against Stain was crippling his brother, even though Izuku did it to save his dumb ass. However, the one person who was most broken by this whole ordeal is Tsu. She knew that Izuku would never in his life betray his friends in a million years and had every intention of defending him, but when she was about to, Iida whispered in her ear that if she helped Izuku, he and Izawa would make sure her family went through hell, which ultimately forced her to attack Izuku, and she was devastated when she saw the look in his eyes when she heard him. After the whole thing, she isolated herself from her class, including the people who believed in Izuku, as she felt bad about herself, and when she heard Izuku was innocent, she felt even more guilty that she helped destroy his dreams, all because she was afraid of her family would suffer because of her actions. She knew that if Izuku ever returned to Earth, he'd probably never forgive her for what she did, but she hoped that there was a very slim possibility he would have as she rocked herself to sleep. Endeavor was pissed that Shoto left without his knowledge, as his perfect weapon was gone, as he was pissed that Fayumi and Natuso allowed him to leave with Anakin, despite their mother giving them the go-ahead, as the flaming pill of trash tried to take out his anger out on his remaining son, but before he could, Fayumi blasted him with an ice blast that somehow flaming hot as he glared at his daughter, as she grabbed Natuso and left the house, as she had to accept that their family was beyond repair and wished that Shoto was happy becoming a Jedi. Malty meanwhile was throwing a hissy fit since she believed she lost a chance to become more powerful thanks to Anakin, as she cursed him out. Malty. Damn that Anakin Skywalker. He stole my husband and daughter and stole my chance to claim power I rightfully deserve. The next time I see him, I'll fucking kill him. Starkiller. That chance may come sooner than you think. Malty turned around to see Starkiller behind her as she was panicked. Malty. Who are you and how dare you sneak up on me? Starkiller. My master said you were charming. I am Darth Starkiller, the apprentice of Darth Vader. Malty was shocked that Vader had a student and was curious of what he wanted. Malty. So what is that you want? Could you be interested in little ol' me? Starkiller. As tempting as that sounds, I have no time for such things. I am here on behalf of my master. He wants you to take him up on his offer of becoming as powerful beyond possible comprehension. Malty. That kind of power is impossible. Starkiller. Oh really? Starkiller lifted one hand and destroyed the area behind them with no difficulty, as Malty was shocked at the display of power she just witnessed. Starkiller. As you can see my dear, nothing is impossible to the dark side. That power can be yours too, if you swear eternal loyalty to the Empire and the dark side. Malty thought for a moment as she had an evil smirk on her face and bowed before the dark apprentice. Now, for the explosive Pomeranian bitch named Bakugo, oh he's had it rough. After it was revealed that he bullied Izuku for being quirkless and suicide baited him at some point, his parents absolutely laid into him for how much they have had it with his inferiority and god complexes, as Bakugo's father started yelling at him, saying that he wished his son was killed by the LOV and that Izuku was the son they never had, which completely broke Bakugo. As much as Bakugo mouthed off to his parents, he still loved them as his father left and threatened to pull him out of UA if he ever did one more evil thing. That was the last thing Bakugo's father said to him before he turned up dead, as it was unknown how he died, but a hot stab wound and burns were found on his body. Currently, Bakugo was sleeping as he was dreaming about his encounter with Vader. After firing a Hoister impact on Vader, he caught the Dark Lord by surprise as he managed to lift him up and threw him down a deep hole as his screaming seemingly stopped, signaling he died. Bakugo. Ha 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 ha. You see that Deku, I killed that tin can, not you. Bakugo looked behind him to see that Anakin and Obi-Wan were gone, not just them, but everyone was gone. Bakugo looked confused and a bit scared as he heard Vader's breathing as he rose from the darkness and removed his helmet as Bakugo backed up as he saw nothing other than Anakin under the helmet. Bakugo. How the fuck? You were over there a few seconds ago. How are you him? Anakin said nothing as Bakugo was starting to get pissed off, but before he did anything, Izuku appeared to Bakugo's anger. Bakugo. Deku. What the fuck is? Bakugo started being force-shocked by Anakin as the Pomeranian was brought to his knees as he started crying. Anakin. You will speak when spoken to. Anakin let go off Bakugo as he saw the environment change from a forest to a hell-like place, as Bakugo saw lava everywhere as he was really starting to get scared. Anakin. He's all yours, Izuku. I'd rather not have his blood on my cape. Izuku. As you wish, father. Anakin walked away and looked like he vanished into thin air as Bakugo saw Momo, Kyoka, Kirishima and Ichako appear beside Izuku, looking corrupted and slightly unhinged. Bakugo. Shitty hair, why are you doing this? We're friends. Kirishima. Friends after the way you treated me and everything you've done. We were never friends. Kirishima then fired force lightning from his hands as Bakugo screamed at the top of his lungs as suddenly the rest of their class appeared, all being tied up. Bakugo. The hell? Iida. Yagi, what is the meaning of this? Izuku. Quit calling me that. My name is Izuku Skywalker, believe it. Multi. Izuku, quit being a rebellious villain and untie me. Mina. Yeah, and dump Yaohara Ozu and flat chest now and be with your one and only. Momo and Kyoka ignited red lightsabers as Momo impaled Mina in her non-existent heart while Kyoka cut off her head. Izuku stood in front of Multi as he held his lightsaber hilt at her neck as she decided to call his bluff. Multi. You wouldn't kill me, you'd miss me. Izuku smirked as he grabbed a blaster and shot Multi in her non-existent heart as she dropped dead to the satisfaction of all. Izuku. I never miss. Iida. You villains. How could you do that to your own friend and wife Yagi? Bachako sighed as lifted Iida with the force and crushed his vocal cords as she dropped him. Bachako. No more from you. Bakugo got back up and tried to attack Izuku, but he stopped him in place with the force as he blasted his former friend and childhood tormentor with force lightning. Izuku. Your pain and suffering has just begun. Izuku kept using force lightning on Bakugo as he managed to get high ground as he decided to taunt Izuku. Bakugo. It's over, Deku. I have the advantage. Izuku. You overestimate your power. Bakugo used his explosions to jump over Izuku and try to get the drop on him, but Izuku saw it coming and stabbed Bakugo in the chest without looking as Bakugo's limb body fell down the slope as his clothes caught on fire as he started burning alive. Izuku. You were my friend Kakin. Bakugo. I hate you. As Bakugo was burning alive, he saw Izuku and the others vanished as someone new appear in front of him, although he couldn't see what they looked like. In the end, as the darkness takes you, you are nothing. The figure started walking towards Bakugo as he saw it was a bald man with grey eyes that turned yellow and a cybernetic jaw as he looked at Bakugo. You will never be remembered. Bakugo woke up from his nightmare as he looked around in a fright as he relaxed as his eyes turned from their usual red to grey as someone else spoke in, not Bakugo. This shall do for now. 1 year ago. Momo and Kyoka were absolutely excited. Even though it is in secret, they're both dating the boy of their dreams for the past year, and they both know they love Izuku more than that felt red-haired bitch. Right now, Izuku's family and Multi's families were gone for a month, while Izuku stayed as Momo and Kyoka planned to surprise their boyfriend while they're alone. They made their way to Izuku's home as they couldn't find him as they walked around the house as they ended up in his room. Momo. Well, the surprise can still work. Kyoka. I hope you're right. Just thinking about it is making me tingle. Momo. I wonder how big our future husband is in the sack. Momo and Kyoka looked around his room as Momo accidentally knocked over a box of Izuku's things as she saw a weird device fall out as she picked it up and examined it. Momo. What's this? Kyoka. Looks like some from Back to the Future. For the next few minutes, the two girls tried to open the holocron to no avail as they tried different and more stupid ways to crack it open as they started to lose hope that they would open it. Kyoka. Whatever that thing is, Greenbean has it sealed tight. Momo. Maybe there's something in here he doesn't want us to see. Kyoka. Okay, we definitely have to open it. Momo. Kyoka, please. Kyoka. Come on, you're just as intrigued as me. Momo sighed as she relaxed as she held the holocron in her hands, as suddenly it started opening to their surprise, as Momo jumped up as the holocron finished opening, as it started playing a recording as they saw a man they never seen before. They saw the man was wearing black robes, he had dark blonde hair as they noticed he had a scar on his eye as someone about him told the girls the man has been through a lot and yet was never afraid. And something about him seemed familiar. Kyoka. Who's that? Momo. Why does he look like Suzu? Anakin. Izuku, you're probably wondering what's going on, so I made this recording so you can know. Due to unfortunate circumstances, your mother and I decided to leave you on Earth with a trusted friend to keep you safe. I made sure to leave some holocrons with you so you can continue with your training on Earth. You and your siblings are special, but there's some about you that makes me hope that you'll never be corrupted by the Sith. I believe that one day, you will be more powerful than Luke and Leia, and maybe even me. Once everything is over or if it's died down, I'll come back and get you. I love you, my son, and may the Force be with you. The message ended as the two girls were confused. Kyoka. I'm lost. Momo. I thought All Might was Zuzu's dad. Izuku. That bastard isn't my father. And I'm glad he's not. Momo and Kyoka turned and saw their boyfriend leaning on the doorway as they were shocked, while Izuku was surprised to learn that Momo was able to open the holocron. Momo. Izuku, how long have you been standing there? Izuku. Long enough. Momo noticed something on Izuku's belt and wondered what it is. Momo. Zuzu, what's that on your belt? Izuku. An elegant weapon for a more civilized age. Izuku grabbed the weird device he was carrying on his belt as a bright blue blade came out as Momo and Kyoka were shocked as they knew what that meant. Momo. Izuku, you're a Jedi. Izuku. Not fully. The man you saw is my actual father, Anakin Skywalker. The chosen one, Jedi Master, the hero with no fear, he's known by many names. Momo and Kyoka were beyond surprised that they dating the son of a Jedi as Izuku started to apologize for keep this a secret. Izuku. Momo, Kyoka, I'm sorry I didn't tell you, but I was told by my mom to keep my Jedi heritage a secret and. Momo cut Izuku off by kissing him, which Izuku was surprised by, but he melted into it. Momo. Don't be sorry, Izuku. Jedi or not, me and Kyoka will always love you no matter what. Izuku. I must have done great things in a past life because I don't deserve you too. Kyoka took a turn to kiss him too. Kyoka. Don't say that, you deserve us just as much as we deserve you. Izuku. So, what are you two doing here anyway? Momo. We wanted to surprise you with an early birthday surprise. Izuku just smiled as they all rested on Izuku's bed, as the two girls smiled before both kissing Izuku on the cheek. Izuku was taking in the sudden revelation that was just dumped on him by his past self. Revan. Still taking all that in, huh? Izuku. I'll be honest, this is not how I thought today was going to go. Not only am I the son of the chosen one, but also the reincarnation of the prodigal knight. Wait, so that connection I felt between me and Bastila is. Revan. Is the bond we shared resurfacing now that you're remembering? Izuku. Geez, my life is confusing as hell sometimes. Revan. That ain't even the half of it, kid. Revan sat down beside Izuku and patted him on the back. Izuku. So, now what? Revan. I'm going to help you train and restore the power you once wielded. Izuku. Not that. I meant about Bastila. Since I'm your reincarnation and you two were married and I'm dating Momo and Kyoka, what does that mean? Revan. Oh. Well, we both died, so it's not cheating, and you're a different person than I was, and considering they're sharing you, I have no doubt that they'll agree to allow Bastila in. Besides, she's been checking you out since you two met. Izuku. Why did you say that like it's a completely normal sentence? Revan. Normal's been thrown out the airlock at this point. Izuku. Fair enough. Izuku opened his eyes as Bastila shot up, wide awake. Izuku. Easy, Bastila. Bastila. How long was I out for? Izuku. For a while. Bastila. Starkiller, he. Izuku. It's alright. Galen Marek stepped in and fought him into retreat along with Luke. Bastila. Not surprising. Those two go everywhere together. Izuku. You alright? Bastila. I'll manage, I am tougher than I look. Izuku. Hey, I never said you weren't. Bastila. Where are the others? Izuku. Out celebrating for a bit. Bastila. And why aren't you with them? Izuku. I was worried about you. Bastila. You were? Izuku. Yeah. Bastila couldn't help but blush over Izuku's loyalty and caring nature to his friends as she grabbed his hand and couldn't deny her feelings for him. Bastila. Kind, brave, sweet, strong and loyal, along with being very handsome. He reminds me a lot of Revan the more I think about it. Bastila was about to try to kiss Izuku, but before she could, she heard Luke clear his throat, making himself known to them. Luke. I'm not interrupting anything, am I? Bastila. And no, not at all. Izuku. Yeah, nothing to see here, Luke. Luke. If you say so. Yeesh, Izuku could repopulate the Jedi Order with the amount of girls failing for him. Izuku. So, finished wrapping up? Luke. Yep, Chewie is saying goodbye to his family before we leave. And remind me to tell Optimus to have Ratchet and Wheeljack to create a defense system made so the Empire can't take back Kashyyyk. Izuku. Noted. Meanwhile, back at the base, Anakin was showing off his lightsaber skills to Eerie by deflecting blaster bolts while doing flips. Anakin. Now that's how you deflect blaster bolts with style, Eerie. Eerie. Wow. That was so cool, Grandpa. Anakin. I know it was. Eerie. Do you think I can do all the things you, Papa and Uncle Luke can do? Anakin. With enough time and training, I have no doubt you will, Eerie. Eerie. Yay. Anakin smiled at his granddaughter as they saw the Falcon landed alongside Galen's ship, the rogue shadow as Izuku and his group exited the ship as Galen was arguing with Bastila. Galen. I'm telling you, I grabbed that Star Destroyer and ripped the damn thing out of the sky. Bastila. As powerful as you are, Galen, tearing Star Destroyers out of the sky is impossible to do. Galen. Really? The Force can be used to sense people's memories and emotions, see the past and future, heal people, slow down aging, fire lightning from your fingertips and in your case, making your allies stronger and enemies weaker, but ripping down ships from the air is out of the question. Bastila. I never said all ships were out of the question, just Star Destroyers. Luke. Galen, you should know better than arguing with Bastila. Galen. Oh come on, Luke, you're taking her side. You know I did it. Luke. I know, but you should know how stubborn Bastila can be. She's more stubborn than Leah and our parents combined. Balin. Like you're any better. Luke. Hey, I'm not stubborn. Balin. Plenty of instances say otherwise. Izuku. Got you there, bro. Eri. Papa. Eri ran to Izuku as she jumped into his arms as Izuku caught her and gave his little snowflake a hug. Izuku. Did you miss me, Eri? Eri. Uh-huh. Auntie Leah and Auntie Mara taught me lots of things while you were gone along with Grandpa. How to block blaster bolts, how to use a blaster. Izuku. That was nice of. Wait, what? Eri. Auntie Leah taught me how to use a blaster. Izuku. We're going to have a talk later, big sis. The next day arrived as Izuku began his training with Revan as he entered his mind and saw Revan was waiting for him. Revan. Ready to begin. Izuku. Of course. What's first? Revan grabbed his lightsabers as Izuku followed in kind, both activating at the same time. Revan. Let's see how you've improved now having a proper fight against a Sith Lord. Izuku. Don't think I'll go easy on you. Revan. I'd be insulted if you did. Izuku ran towards Revan as the two began to duel. Izuku managed to push Revan back as he ran towards him as Revan prepared to block, but Izuku surprised Revan by using a Delaware smash, sending him further back as Izuku threw Revan back towards him with Black Whip, while Izuku channeled Force Lightning through Black Whip. Revan. Channeling your Force Lightning through that whip ability, impressive thinking. Izuku. Skywalkers are always full of surprises. Revan. So am I. Revan managed to free himself from Black Whip before blasting Izuku with Force Lightning, as Izuku blocked it with his saber, but was getting overwhelmed due to its intensity. Meanwhile, Momo and Kyoka were talking about different ways they could combine their usage of the Force, in tandem with their quirks, as they saw Chako, Inko, Nana, Izumi, Ahsoka and Bastila walk into the room. Chako. Hey yeah Momo, you and Jiro wanted to see us. Kyoka. Yep. Ahsoka. Why does this feel like the bullet up to a lecture from Obi-Wan? Momo. Depends. Izumi. On what? Momo. Why you love Izuku. All the girls were shocked as they thought they kept their feelings for Izuku hidden well enough for Momo and Kyoka to not sense them, but they were wrong. Kyoka. Well. Chako. Guess I'll go first. Since he saved me from the zero-pointer, he's always been in my heart. No matter what, he's always cared about me and my opinions and treated me like an equal, unlike Iida. And how he was willing to save Bakugo even after everything he's done made me love his heroic spirit even more. Izumi. Izuku always cared about me and wasn't put off for my rambling and fangirling habits. I couldn't help but fall for him, even if people thought we were related. And the fact my sperm donor forbid me from my feelings thanks to bitch who shall not be named made me want to be with him even more. Inko. He always knew how to make me feel happy and laugh, sometimes more than my ex-husband. And he always told me to stay as I am when Ass Might tried to make me change to suit his tastes, and he lifted my spirits when we found out Ass Might cheated on me with Uwabani before Izuku went to prison. Nana. The kid's kind, compassionate, brave and focused and he's one hell of a listening ear. He helped me with my fighting styles and helped me learn new tricks with One for All. That, and my age doesn't seem to bother him at all. Meanwhile Izuku finished his training with Revan for the day as he was walking to his room to tell Momo and Kyoka that he's Revan Reborn as he overheard the girls telling Momo and Kyoka about their feelings for him as he was shocked but was more than willing to take responsibility for their feelings. Ahsoka. Izuku's quick on his feet and quick with a quip, he always made me laugh and care about protecting him. And he doesn't treat me any different for being an alien and for my looks. I mean, I'm good looking as hell, but it's nice to have someone see you for you first. Bastila. Izuku's compassion for his friends, family and allies along with his bravery and loyalty are traits to be commended for. He's a boy millions of women would kill to be with, and you two are very lucky to be with him. Momo. Same goes for you too. The girls were shocked at Momo's statement, but then again, she was sharing Izuku with Kyoka, so they should have known she'd share with them too. Kyoka. You have any idea how many girls Izu charmed the panties off of? Me and Momo would be hypocrites to not share him with you girls. Momo. We are in sharing Izuku, as long as the feelings are genuine, and all of us are Zuzu's main girls. The girls were happy as they saw Izuku entered the room as the girls looked at the target of their love. Momo. Izuku, the girls have something to tell you. Izuku. I have to tell all of you something extremely important. Bastila. Weird, I'm sensing Revan's energy from you Izuku. Wait. That means you're. Izuku. Yeah. I'm Revan Reborn. Bastila's eyes widened with hope as she was surprised but happy that she reunited with her husband without knowing it. Izuku. Also, I overheard everything and I'm willing to love you all like I love Momo and Kyoka. Meanwhile, Malty felt her non-existent heart shatter into a million pieces. Iida felt extremely pissed off for some reason. Might suddenly hated Izuku more for some reason, while Mineta was completely fuming in the afterlife as Leah felt it happen through the force. Leah. And just like that, an army of nieces and nephews are in the making. The girls were overjoyed as Bastila hugged Izuku and kissed him. Bastila. You have no idea how much I missed you, darling. Izuku. Sorry for not remembering sooner, beloved. Suddenly Eri ran into the room as she managed to feel something great happened. Eri. Papa, do I have? Izuku. That's right, Snowball, you have more mommies. Eri started celebrating as she was happy she had more mommies, and that also means she's going to have tons of little siblings. Izuku took turns kissing the rest of his new girlfriends as they all changed into their underwear, while Eri changed into her PJs as they saw it was almost midnight. The time, not the hero. Izuku. Oh, I'm in heaven. Bastila pushed Izuku into her chest as she smirked as Izuku melted into it, but was surprised when she felt Izuku squeezing her ass. Izuku. All caked up for me, are you, Bastila? Bastila. You weren't that grabby before Revan. Izuku. Blame Momo and Kyoka. Momo and Kyoka smirked as Ahsoka yanked Izuku into her chest as well. Ahsoka. How do you like my tits, baby? Izuku. As much as I love this. Izuku squeezed Ahsoka's cheeks while kissing her as Ahsoka was taken aback by Izuku's boldness as Ichako finally got her kiss with Izuku was beyond happy. Izuku. Happy to finally be with your knight Machi. Ichako. More than anything in the world. Nana, Inko and Izumi all grabbed onto Izuku as he took turns making out with them as he also gave their assets tender squeezes. Inko. Be careful, Izuku, I may not be able to control myself. Izuku. Trust me, I'll make you forget all about Might. Izuku slid his hand into Inko's panties as he rubbed her, which made her moan with complete delight. Might was never like this with her, so rough but gentle. Izumi started dry humping Izuku as she gave Izuku hickeys as he grabbed her tits and squeezed them. Izuku. You've been waiting for this for a while, haven't you, Izumi? Izumi. I want you to mark me, my mom and grandma the same way you marked Momo and Kyoka. Izuku. Trust me, that time will come. Izuku then started grabby with Nana as he felt up her entire body. Izuku. My, you really fill your costume nicely, Nana. Nana. That won't be the only thing being filled nicely. Nana pushed Izuku into her breasts and placed her hand as his crotch as Izuku started motorboating her, but stopped before things could get more steamy as Eri was finished getting ready for bed. Izuku and his girlfriends all got into bed and slept well, even though they had to make some compromises thanks to the bed's size, while Ichako cuddled with Eri. Meanwhile, Anakin was training as his commutator went off as he answered, seeing Optimus was calling him. Anakin. Optimus, what is it? Optimus. We need your help, Anakin. Anakin. What's wrong? Optimus. We learned that the Decepticons are up to something here with Energon, and we're being pinned down by Decepticon air support, and we can't afford to call in our own air support, but smaller fighters should be able to slip past them, and what better pilot do we have on our side? Anakin. Alright, I'll head to your location. Which planet are you on? Optimus. The planet named Geonosis. I'll send you the coordinates. Anakin. No need, I'm familiar. The transmission ceased as Anakin couldn't believe he was about to return to Geonosis after all this time as he planned on bringing Ahsoka along, but when he pasted Izuku's room, he opened the door slightly as he saw Izuku sleeping with his girlfriends, as Anakin saw how happy Ahsoka looked in her sleep as he decided to bring along Luke and Mara. Anakin found the two training as he got them up to speed as they went for their personal starfighters and took off for Geonosis. Meanwhile, the Autobots were in the process of fending off the Decepticons' air squad, and given Geonosis is mostly desert, kind of hard to find cover as they had to improvise as Optimus was behind cover alongside his brother, Ultra Magnus. Ultra Magnus. You sure Skywalker will be able to reach us? Optimus. Have some faith in him, Magnus. Ultra Magnus. It's not that I don't have faith in him, Optimus, it's just do you think he'll be able to get past all those Decepticons? Optimus. He will, I know it. Ultra Magnus. If you say so, brother. I just don't know if we can win this. Optimus. Remember, we just need to buy Bumblebee, Hot Rod and Sideswipe time to find out what Megatron has going on here. Meanwhile, Anakin, Luke and Mara arrived out Geonosis' atmosphere as Anakin looked at the planet and recalled some unpleasant memories. Luke. So, this is where it all began. Anakin. Yes, everything that led up to the Empire started here. Mara. Didn't you lose your hand here too? Luke laughed a bit as Anakin ignored it as the three entered the planet's atmosphere, activating their cloaking devices as they saw multiple Decepticon cruisers along countless seekers as they scanned the cruisers and found the one that would have Optimus to call in air support when destroyed. Anakin. Alright, focus our attacks on that cruisers. That goes down, clear skies. Mara. Right. Luke. This is where the fun begins. The three began their attacks as they started blasting cons out of the sky, as Luke kept dodging and weaving between the cons, while Mara focused on taking down the cruiser, while Anakin was providing cover fire. Mara managed to maneuver around the ship's weapons, along with the seeker drones, as she started showing off her flying skills by tricking one drone into flying into one of the ship's guns as she fired 2 torpedoes at the shield generators. Meanwhile, one of Megatron's Lieutenant Soundwave saw their starfighters appear on their radar. Soundwave. Lord Megatron, 3 ships suddenly showed up on our radar. Megatron. How could we have missed the Albits? Anakin. Remember me, Megs. Megatron's optics widened as he recognized Anakin's voice and snarled. Megatron. You. Anakin. Glad you could recognize me. Sorry about all the cons dropping out of the air. I'm sure Vader's got you covered. Megatron. I won't be so confident, Jedi. My seekers are far superior than you are in the skies. Anakin. Oh please, without Starscream leading them, they're just as effective as stormtroopers. Megatron growled at Anakin's remark as Mara fired a torpedo into the right spot of the cruiser as she and Luke blasted the same spot, blowing up the cruiser as Optimus saw they did it from the ground. Optimus. They did it. Call reinforcements. Anakin. No need, Prime. Suddenly, 2 Decepticon cruisers went down as Optimus and Magnus saw one of the Albits air raid blasting down Decepticons left and right. Air raid. Hope I'm not too late. Optimus. Just in time, air raid. Soundwave. We are taking heavy damage. What now, Lord Megatron? Megatron. Open the space bridge, Soundwave, I'll deal with this myself. Soundwave obeyed Megatron's order as he opened the space bridge as Megatron arrived on Geonosis as the Autobot saw him as Optimus had his optics focused on Megatron. Optimus. Autobots, continue the attack. Megatron is mine to deal with, alone. The Autobots followed Optimus's order as they continued onwards as Optimus stared at his former brother in arms. Megatron. Always putting others before yourself, so predictable, Optimus. Megatron rushed the Autobot commander as the two began another battle. Ultra Magnus. Good luck, brother. Megatron. Your compassion for others always made you weak, Prime. Optimus. At least I'm not the one blinded by their arrogance and twisted delusions. Optimus grabbed Megatron's legs and flipped him up, sending Megatron off balance as he gore back up only to have Optimus's fist to the face. Optimus threw Megatron back as he put his hands together as he started charging an energy blast as Megatron responded in kind by activating his fusion cannon as the two leaders fired their attacks at the other. The resulting shockwave gave Optimus an opportunity to catch Megatron off guard as he delivered the Decepticon leader a strong kick to the face as Optimus threw him into a nearby rock structure. Megatron. I never thought you had it in you, Prime. You're giving it more than usual. Optimus. Look around, Megatron, nothing but desert for miles. Meaning I don't have to hold back this time. Optimus grabbed his blaster as he charged a powerful shot as he aimed right at Megatron. The blast hit Megatron as he was sent back farther as Optimus jumped into the air and landed on Megatron. Optimus. Why, Megatron, why? Why have you joined with the Empire? Megatron. There's only one true path to peace, and it is through tyranny. Optimus. So you're going to strip away freedom from the universe. Freedom is the right of all sentient beings, Megatron. Megatron. And look what that freedom has caused. Countless wars have been waged, plenty of civilizations have crumbled, lives destroyed and tainted. Look at the fleeshbags who betrayed the son of one of your Jedi allies. Freedom only leads to further consequences. Optimus. That might be true, but oppression will only lead to more conflict. You and I know that firsthand. Megatron. Which is why only the worthy shall rule. Megatron swiped Optimus's leg as he blasted Optimus away as he grabbed him and slammed his head into the ground as he held Optimus by the neck. Megatron. We could have been gods together, Optimus, but you just had to go soft. You, Magnus, Sentinel and especially that cursed Alita. You always cared about others' ideas than your own. Optimus. We didn't go soft, Megatron. You went mad and were corrupted by the Fallen. Megatron. He didn't corrupt me, he showed me the light. We weren't going to keep peace for longer the way we were going. Optimus kicked Megatron, which made him drop out of Megatron's grip as he threw Megatron away as he got a message from Bumblebee. Bumblebee. Optimus, the cons are mining energon here. Optimus. Gather as much energon as you can. Megatron then attacked Optimus when he had his back turned as Optimus brought out his energon blade. Optimus. Never thought you'd attack someone with their back turned. Optimus started attacking Megatron with his blade as Megatron suddenly went on the defensive, since even though he wouldn't admit it, Optimus was always superior to him in sword fighting, as Optimus went in for stabbing Megatron's feet and legs, keeping Megatron quite literally on his toes, as Optimus tripped him up and swept his feet and slashed Megatron on the chest. Ultra Magnus. Optimus, we managed to secure majority of the Energon being mined and destroyed the mining equipment. Optimus. Good work, Magnus. Megatron tired another sneak attack on Optimus by jumping into the air, but he got blasted down as Luke flew down like a goddamn eagle. Megatron saw the Energon mining area was compromised, and the fact that he was beaten by Optimus once again led to Megatron being frustrated with the setback, leaving no other choice but to fall back. Megatron. This isn't over, Optimus Prime. Megatron transformed and left the planet along with the rest of his men as Optimus tried to shoot him down, but Megatron was too fast as Optimus put his gun away as Anakin and Mara landed near him. Luke. Optimus, you okay? Optimus. Yes, I'm fine. Optimus. Even after all these years of constant war and death, Optimus couldn't help but see the Megatron who once strived for peace and fought for equality for all Cybertronians inside of the heartless, cold and cruel Megatron who was before him. No matter what, Optimus knew that he would have to kill Megatron eventually, regardless of how much he wishes it doesn't have to come to that. After getting Multi to agree to join them, Starkiller and her boarded his ship as they left the planet, as they said absolutely nothing to each other, as Starkiller focused on flying his ship, as the only sound Multi heard was his breathing. Something about his breathing was off to Multi, as well his breathing was intimidating like Vader's, his sounded more rougher, and like it was artificial, which made her intrigued over what he looked like under his mask. After a while, they arrived at an Imperial base as Starkiller landed his ship at the Imperial base, as he and Multi exited the ship as they entered the base. All stormtroopers present saluted Starkiller as Multi looked at them with a confused and condescending look. Starkiller. At ease, Soilders. Multi. What's with all these bucket heads? Starkiller. The accurate term would be stormtroopers. Multi. You're common soldiers. Starkiller. Indeed. Multi. They look like they're not impressive. Their armor looks like plastic, they probably have difficulty seeing in those things, and probably can't hit the board side of a barn. Starkiller. You're not wrong with that last part. It's like their aim decides when they want to be accurate. Multi. No wonder your master is looking for someone like me. Given that your Soliders are just as effective as Mineta. Starkiller. You'd be surprised. The two entered the room where Vader was waiting for them as Starkiller bowed before his master. Starkiller. I have returned, master. Vader. You have done well, my apprentice. Although, you took a bit longer than expected. Starkiller. Had to make a few shortcuts in my search. Vader walked to Multi as he was a few inches away from her, as Multi couldn't believe what was happening. For once, she was in front of someone she couldn't take advantage of as she felt immense darkness for Vader as she bowed before the Dark Lord. Vader. I see you have taken me up on my offer, Melrimerk. Multi. Yes. I will do what you ask, Lord Vader. Vader. Good. Multi. I pledge myself to your teachings, master. Vader. Good, good. A powerful Sith you will become. Multi. Once I'm strong enough, I'll take back Izuku and Yuri from Yaoi Rozu and Jiro and completely take over Earth. I might even let them be our slaves if I'm generous. Vader. Her attitude and motivation will definitely need some work. Multi raised before Vader as her Sith training was about to begin. First thing they did was give Multi appropriate apparel for a Sith, since her current clothing basically looked like they belonged to a medieval striper, as Vader found some robes for her. Once done, Vader began teaching her how to use the dark side as he told her to use all her negative emotions to empower her and cast off all her positive ones, if she even had positive emotions to begin with. And given how much of an evil bitch Multi is, she managed to pick up using the dark side rather quickly, as Vader taught her basic force abilities, which she managed to get a relatively decent grasp on. However, she saw the League was there as well as she was pissed and wanted to know why they were there, as Vader explained to her that they're training to become Inquisitors. Then Vader explained what Inquisitors are, to which all Multi got from the explanation is that Inquisitors are low-ranking Sith, which Vader just went with, not wanting to get into an argument with his new apprentice. After teaching Multi the basics on the Force for a few hours, Vader started lightsaber training, starting off with basic training before Vader started teaching Multi his preferred form of lightsaber combat, Form V, with her also getting a view of the dual-wielding form Jerkai from Starkiller as she watched a duel between the two Sith Lords, seeing their forms in action. Watching the two duel, Multi couldn't believe the sheer power and skill she was witnessing, as after they finished their duel, Vader had training droids prepared for Multi to practice her lightsaber training, as Vader knew this would be a difficult and interesting task. Vader knew that the difficulty would lay not in her combat training, but rather her mental training, since Vader knew Malty's ego was massive and she was extremely arrogant, possibly eclipsing and putting his own arrogance to shame. After finishing her training, Vader went to a room with a mediation chamber as he removed his mask and sat down in the chamber. Vader. I just gave myself a lot more to deal with. Vader started meditating as he felt events happening through the Force as something caught his attention. He felt someone who was strong in both sides of the Force as Vader stopped meditating as he was caught off guard. Vader. That can't be possible. No one is that strong in both the light and dark sides, not even Skywalker is that powerful with both sides. Vader then remembered that power he sensed in Izuku, and he knew there was only one person in history who used both the dark and light sides, as Vader's eyes widened. Vader. It can't be. Darth Revan. Skywalker's son is Darth Revan Reborn. Vader stood in shock as he also felt a dark presence emerge for a moment, but paid no attention to it as Vader clenched his fist. Vader. First Skywalker took Revan's ideals to heart, but now his son is Revan Reborn. Doesn't matter, I'll destroy them and show Revan how wrong he truly is about the Force. Back on Earth. Nezu was in the middle of doubling down on UA, in the hopes of fixing it before it could get any worse than it already is. First he had UA's security amped up from 2 to 11 to make sure that an accident could take place, along with making sure any and all data is extremely secure and made sure it can be accessed by trusted staff members, which were particularly none at this point. And Nezu also doubled down on both Aizawa and Recovery Girl as he started realizing that both of them have neglected their jobs. Aizawa for being both lazy and neglectful as he barely taught his class and pawned it on someone else, and he straight up lied to his students on multiple occasions, and his first reaction to students misbehaving is to restrain them, even if it's not too big of a deal. And that doesn't even include Aizawa expelling an entire class on the first day, because they weren't up to his standards, despite the fact their job to teach the students to be up to the true standards of being a hero, which are not the same standards of one teacher. And the fact that Aizawa knew Ida purposely chose to do his internship in Hosu for the sole intention of going after Stain and didn't say anything about it made Nezu realize that he's been too lent and felt like what happened to Izuku was his fault. As for Recovery Girl, Nezu told her that no matter what, she has to heal all students after he learned that she stopped healing Izuku because she thought he was being too reckless. If Nezu could, he'd fire both of them, but he's extremely short-staffed as he focused on find new teachers. Not only that, Nezu saw that everyone was completely ignoring Tsu as he knew she was suffering because she betrayed Izuku and was completely pissed that Aizawa didn't notice, nor did any of the students attempt to take to her. Granted she ignored them, but when has that stopped people before? The which Nezu took it upon himself to help Tsu overcome her personal demons, even though he doesn't know how bad they are. As for the blonde oaf Noah's All Might, due to his wound being mysterious healed he made a return to being a hero, but due to what he did being released to the public, it didn't go too well, as almost everyone hated him which pissed him off. Meanwhile, Malty continued her training even while on Earth by Vader's instructions as to not arouse any suspicion over her being gone for long periods of time. But you're probably wondering why Nezu hasn't sensed Malty's Force signature increase, or that she's turned to the dark side. And the reason for that is that Palpatine personality taught Malty the ability Force concealment which made it seem like her Force signature hasn't gotten stronger and more importantly, it hid the fact that Malty turned to the dark side. One day, right after classes had ended, an explosion went off in the city as a news report showed that it was caused by an attack from the Decepticons. Due to Optimus being off Earth, Megatron decided this would be a perfect opportunity to launch an attack on the planet as they decided to strike Japan, because why not? After all, Megatron figured this would prove his point about how Optimus will risk his life for others, regardless if they deserve it or not, as Aizawa and the students expect for Tsu prepared to fight them as the Decepticons were blasting all over the place. Megatron. Show no mercy Decepticons. Show these fleshings who their future ruler is. Several Decepticons spread out to maximize the destruction as Soundwave stood beside Megatron as the Decepticon leader turned to one of his most loyal soldiers. Megatron. Soundwave, have your mini-con scout the area and have them destroy any who get in their way. Soundwave. Ravage. Rumble. Frenzy. Laserbeak. Eject. Soundwave's 4 mini-cons ejected out of him as Soundwave told them their commands and obeyed them as they spread out. Megatron. You see this, heroes? This is what happens when you stand against your future ruler. Suddenly, Megatron was met with a fast kick to the face. He was sent flying into several of his men as Megatron thought it was Optimus, but was disappointed as he saw Mount Lady was the one who had the guts to fight him. Megatron. I have no time to deal with this. Starscream, deal with this one yourself. Starscream. As you command, Lord Megatron. Megatron flew off as Starscream stared Mount Lady in the face, completely freaking her out just by looking at her. Starscream. I'm giving you one chance to walk away from this human. Mount Lady. I can't just sit and watch you and your friends destroy everything. Starscream. I don't care for the mindless destruction, but you humans and your quirks need an example made. Mount Lady. Call it what you want, you're going down, you bucket of bolts. Starscream. So be it. Mount Lady rushed Starscream and tried to punch him, but the Air Commander caught the punch as he punched her into the air before flying and took their fight elsewhere. Meanwhile, Megatron was going on a rampage. And he was absolutely enjoying himself. Destroying buildings with his bare hands, crushing cars under his feet, shooting shit, he enjoyed all of it. However, that joy was short-lived as All Might and Endeavor made their presence known to Megatron as they glared at him. Megatron. Well, what do we have here? Two fleshings in a rush to die. All Might. Your destruction is at an end. Because I am here. Endeavor. I don't know what or who you are, but you're going down, you clanker. Megatron then started to laugh at the top of his lungs, which shocked Endeavor and All Might as Megatron just pointed at them. Megatron. You two fleshings think you can defeat me? I am Megatron, leader of the Decepticons and your future emperor. Endeavor. Not in a million years. The blast took Megatron by surprise as he was sent back into a nearby building as he readjusted himself. Megatron. That caught me off guard. Not bad for a fleshing who's desperate to leave his mark on history, no matter who he harms to achieve that goal. Those words lit a spark inside Endeavor as he glared at Megatron and was completely pissed at the Decepticon leader's choice of words. Endeavor. What did you just say? Megatron smirked as he pressed Endeavor's buttons without meaning to do it. Megatron. What's wrong, fleshbag? Struck a nerve. Endeavor shot a powerful fireball at Megatron's face as he climbed up the Decepticon commander as he shoot his fire at Megatron's head as he focused his flames as they turned blue. Endeavor hoped his blue flames were enough to burn Megatron's head, but it was ultimately fruitless as Megatron barely had a scratch on him, leaving Endeavor horrified as Megatron backhanded him into a building before shooting it with his fusion cannon, causing an explosion. Megatron. Now, where's the blonde oaf? Don't tell me he ran away. Megatron suddenly felt a powerful gust of air hit him, causing him to fall onto the ground as he saw All Might standing with an extremely arrogant smile on his face. Megatron. You're a persistent little human. Megatron tried to shoot All Might, but he managed to outrun and dodge them as he jumped to the rooftops as Megatron got up and was furious before Megatron transformed into his jet form and chased after the symbol of stupidity. Meanwhile, after a bit in the air, Starscream sent Mount Lady flying into the ocean, which confused her, but she was ultimately grateful since she didn't have to worry about unintentionally causing more damage as Starscream landed before her. Starscream. I must admit, you have more guts and honor than these other heroes. Mount Lady. And I thought you were just a mindless killing machine. Starscream. Like I said, I don't care for mindless carnage. Mount Lady. Still, I have a job to do. Starscream. As do I. The two ran towards each as they began to fight in the water. To Starscream's surprise, she was able to keep up with him as he used the fact they were fighting in water in his advantage as he splashed her with water, which temporarily had her block her vision to make the water doesn't get in her eyes, to which Starscream swept her legs before throwing her further towards the deep part of the ocean. After getting back up, Mount Lady managed to pull a fast one on Screamer as she faked him out with a punch before she kicked him into the air before sending Starscream right back down with a powerful kick. Starscream got back up as Mount Lady tried to grab him, but he used his flight to his advantage to create a gap between as she ran after him but was extremely slowed down. Mount Lady. Why am I moving so slow? Starscream. Hard to do that when your clothes are drenched. Her eyes widened as she realized why Starscream moved their fight to the water and also mentally slapped herself for forgetting where she was fighting as Starscream grabbed her and threw her into the sandy ground as she tried to get back up but ultimately passed out as Starscream stood over her. Starscream. Looks like some of you aren't lost causes after all. Starscream transformed as he took off to regroup with the other Decepticons, while Megatron was still chasing All Might as he transformed into his robot form as he tried to grab All Might, but he threw Megatron off balance with a Detroit smash before jumping towards his hand and sending him crashing down with a well-timed United States of smash. Megatron got onto his knees as he was beyond pissed that he's being humiliated by a measly human as Aizawa and the other students arrived as Aizawa used his scarf to restrain Megatron's leg, while Sato used his quirk to bring Megatron's other leg down as Kaminari used his quirk to temporarily stun Megatron as Megatron had enough humiliation. But before Megatron could continue, he felt ringing in his mind as he heard the voice of his master Megatronus, the Fallen Prime. Megatron. Master. The Fallen. You have done enough there, my apprentice. Return to base at once. Megatron? Yes, my master. Megatron got back up on his feet as he flicked Izawa into a building with his toe as the remaining hero students just stared at the Decepticon leader towering over them. Megatron. Decepticons, we are done here. All ground soilders, prepared to be bridged back. Before Megatron could leave, Iida tried to attack him, but Megatron blasted the ground near Iida, sending him and the Class A idiots back as he transformed into his jet form along with the Seekers, while all the non-flying cons walked through a space bridge as all the heroes looked at the destruction caused as they knew they were dealing with a new kind of monster. After a while, search and rescue was held as surprisingly nobody was killed in the whole thing, but Endeavor was sent to the hospital as he suffered some injuries from the explosion Megatron caused. While his quirk kept him safe from most of the blast, he still got injured as he had an extremely nasty scar from the blast, a scar kind of like Shoto's only way worse. While laying in the rubble, Endeavor reflected on everything that has led up to this point, more importantly his family. He caused his family so much pain and suffering, and for what? Because he couldn't accept that he couldn't become number one and surpass All Might. And the fact that All Might was more of a piece of flaming garbage than he was completely pissed him off, even more than seeing his weak skeleton form after his fight with All for One. The more he reflected, Megatron was actually right about him. He seemingly drove his oldest son to suicide, completely neglected his only daughter and second son, broke his wife's mental state, and sent her to a mental hospital without hesitation, but most of all, he was responsible for his youngest son getting literally scared for life, and he tried to use him as a tool to surpass All Might due to his refusal to accept things for as they are. Maybe fate decided to give him his scar as a twist of irony. Maybe if he were a better man, this wouldn't have happened. Endeavor woke up in his hospital room as he took a moment to process his surroundings as he saw Nezu sitting in a chair. Nezu. Glad to see you're awake, Endeavor. Endeavor. How long was I out for? Nezu. A few days. Aside from your scar, you didn't receive any major fatal injuries from your encounter with Megatron. Endeavor. How many people died? Nezu. Surprisingly none. Well, good to see you're up. You'll need plenty of rest. Even though Yagi is back as All Might, well, let's just say people actually prefer you over him for once. Nezu got up and was about to leave, but Endeavor stopped him as he wanted to know something from the rat god himself. Endeavor. Nezu, wait. Nezu stopped as he turned to face the flaming hero who had a look of self-hatred and shame on his face. Endeavor. Do you think it's possible for me to change and repent for what I've done? Nezu was pleasantly surprised that Endeavor actually managed to see the error of his ways as he realized that Endeavor's near-death experience managed to make him face reality. Nezu. Well, in my opinion, given everything you've done, I'd say the chances of that are very unlikely. Endeavor. I see. Endeavor looked down with shame, but Nezu wasn't finished. Nezu. But it's not impossible. Granted, it may be a very, extremely tough road ahead of you, but I'm confident you'll see it through now you've realized the weight of what you've done. Endeavor thanked Nezu for his words as the rat god returned to UA as he was tinkering with his lightsaber in his office as he hasn't used it in some time as he wanted to make sure it was up to snuff. Nezu. Seems like it's my time to strike back has come. Nezu got up from his desk as he walked to the center of his office before he stopped, reached out his hand as his saber flew towards him and into his hand as he turned it on. Nezu. I still got it. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching and supporting us. See you in the next part.